Welcome to today's show. This is Medicine Solution. That's Soultin, where your soul has a solution. I'm your host, Dr. Brenda Jean Power, and this is a metaphysics about metaphysics, the nature of being. So this is for entertainment purposes only. This is an area to which people have just called woo-woo or, you know, let it go. You don't need to learn this. But yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's time. And it's time because what is happening is we are now the planetary wise consciousness of the collective human is really 5D, 3D. Which world do you want to live in? What kind of world do you want to live in? And the world that is in a 3D, I lived that, and now I am in this 5D, and 3D looks at 5D and go, well, that's stupid, that's wrong. And then in 5D, you're like, oh my God, wake up, we need you. And there is this two sides that need to come together. And the reason they need to come together is because then we can start having unity. And a lot of people are like, unity? Are you saying that we all have to think the same? No. We already did that in 3D. One of the things by being an American that's living down under, I'm able to see from a different perspective. I'm able to look at it on a deeper level. And one of the things that a program keeps getting passed down is that you have to get his permission. Take that phrase, just think it for a moment. You have to get his permission. It is deeply ingrained in everything being that as far as an American. More so if you lived in Michigan, because that's where I'm from. But the people that I've been hearing that are pretty much everywhere to do with religion and all this is that you have to get his permission. When this one person that had woke up and they go like, yeah, I really believe that's who I was. And then all of a sudden it just didn't click anymore. Those belief systems, those ways of being just didn't click. And then it hit me that why am I so different? Because I was asking questions, but I don't need his permission in order to be me. Now, his permission is related to the fact that there's a higher power, but his permission is usually related to the fact that the gender, as is in penises and the JJs. So we have a built-in association system. I have been healing belief systems and BSs, you know what I'm talking about. And I've been healing these. And then it's like, what piece am I missing? Why do I feel like the planetary system or something greater than me is like, oh, gotta keep me down? And I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Until I heard the person that woke up from the drastic stages of 3D to 5D, but they aren't quite 5D. They woke up from the 3D and learning to be more them. Now that's part of the 5D is learning that you are part of the equation and that you do matter. So it was just a surprise to me that it took me this long to hear it. But what part is listening? What part needed to hear it? Do you understand? What part? Because see, when you wake up, that's part of understanding that you have a third option. You are the third option. You are the answer. And it may not be to humanity, but it is to your world. And if you're watching kids, it is to their world. And if it is to your family and your friends, it is to their world. Everybody's always looking to see how to do it right, like we did as kids, look back at mom and dad before we proceeded. How do we do it? How do we function? How? And that's part of the transitioning. That's part of the waking up. And I'm watching these two polar opposites, and it's like, well, it looks like I've got sitting back and I don't feel like I know I have humanity. I have love, I have compassion. But then those that are questioning are going, yeah, but you're not showing the compassion the way you do, the way your heart is. Everybody's different. When I'm asking, how do I contribute to society? It isn't about looking outside and making sure I do it right by whoever wrote it according to whom. So I would look and I realized that I don't believe in pain, suffering, alpha, beta. I chose sigma. I chose in the middle, not because it's safe, because it is an option. And it's because I can love and I can help. I don't believe that you have to have this racist and bigotry and all of these words. And you don't have to do this to show loyalty or love. When I look at two people and I look at how people share things, it's just amazing to me that love can be so deep. Now, and it's so funny because when you get to understand the passion of someone's heart that is such a nasty person, and I had to take care of somebody for a great couple of years, 2 to 4, I can't remember now. Oh, everybody was worthless. Everybody was a piece of crap. Everybody, I mean, that was the conversations, pointing out flaws. And it's like, I really didn't want to work for this person, but I had to in honor for somebody else. So I did it because the other person needed to keep working and making money. And so I just took over the job. And every day of having to hear over and over how bad people are. And I'm like, you don't see any ounce of love? Well, why should I when they do this? I said, so you really, really can't tell when somebody's, no, they always pull the wool over my eyes and this and this. And I go, huh. And no matter how nice people were, he would always deem them as bad. And I said, so you really just can't no. And so they're elder, and I helped them with their business, and I had to go help his client. And as I did, I looked back and started noticing that he was tumbling. So I raced over, grabbed him before he fell. And I've never seen a man that was so crotchety turn so grateful. How did you do that? Oh my God, I could have broken a hip. Ah. And he was nice to me after that. And I'm like, whoa, what's this? But then it didn't last long. His gratefulness didn't last long. He went back to being crotchety. And he told me where he hid some money, and I didn't want nothing to do with it. I don't know if it got found. Doesn't matter to me. But the hearts of people I saw inside of this person, that love sometimes can get buried very, 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 very deep. But they'd be surprised that they have it still. A couple days ago, the energy that was sweeping through the planet was very strong, and it was so agitating that the people I love, the animals and all that, it's like, oh, I feel like they're getting on my nerves. So I've done my tribal basics, and that is moving the energy. And I get balanced again, and it wouldn't be long. You can feel this frequency, you can feel this energy. And I could feel how it's wanting to be aggravating. And I'm like, I don't want to participate in that. And so I stood back as my third option, my spiritual self. And knowing that this physical form has to go through this particular experience. And I watched their reaction, my reaction. I watched the sounds, the tones, and it was amazing to me that, oh, my screen. It was amazing to me. It was amazing to me how the energy was so determined to put me to sleep, so determined to lull me into that frequency, that rhythm. At any given moment, from what I understand about cells and about frequencies and things like this, we are constantly always being manipulated one way or another, because that's the interference patterns. This is how we create. And I thought, man, what pattern keeps like dripping like a faucet? What pattern, and do I have to keep falling for it? And then I've learned, no, I can counteract that by do what we do in a 3D world, that is to become aware and all of a sudden go, nope, not doing that, not doing that. Ooh, phobias are strongly purging from the body. Yes, I would say yes. Haven't seen you on. Hi. It was just like, and so these patterns are hitting, and in some people it's destructive, like it was getting very destructive for me. And some people would saw that as constructive. They like, oh, they identify with trauma and drama, and they feed on it. And at the same time, it doesn't help the physical form at all. So I'm aware that I have to be in this experience, but I was able to stand back as my spiritual self to look. And I'm like, I can see the emotions. I can see the emotions off the animals. I see the emotions off my husband. And I'm like, but that's not the life I want to keep creating. So in 3D, I could sit there and think positive, but yet I can feel this root. Okay. So then it's like, all right. So I did the basics, but then I also started doing EFT. Directly started tapping. Okay. Felt like it was gone. And then I realized it was in a lull. Here comes the frequency wave again. It's like a drip, like I said. This time I didn't go as bad, but I could feel that I just wanted to be angry. And I said, this reminds me of how people would come into the room and I'd be happy. And they have a beef or they'd get upset or however it is. And my joy would just disappear. And then it's like how this energy is so quiet, but yet very loud, that it pulls you in and you go to sleep. Like when you watch the end of the movie, What Dreams May Come, when Robin Williams goes, but I gotta save her. I love my wife. I want to save her from that. And they go, if you stay in the energy too long, it's going to conform you and you're going to get lost. But we're not aware that these energies are happening. We like to say it's their fault, their fault, their fault. But in the end, you have to become aware. I was becoming aware that this was happening. I go, but yeah, but that's not what I'm choosing. Why am I still choosing her? One of the things I noticed I was choosing was how I recognized how familiar this old personality was. Again, I grew up with five siblings. We had where somebody was always fighting. Somebody was always fighting, and somebody was always trying to get their way. Somebody was always trying to outmaneuver, out whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then as I got older, I'd leave there because we lived in the apartments, and I'd go to my friend's house. And then her and her mother would go and do the same thing. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so then it's like, what is the group consciousness doing? And these are not just soul groups or individual groups. This is a collective of the planetary. So it's more of a universal. And it is, where are we on this consciousness level? Now, you can go ahead and blame technology, people, all this, but rise higher. as a consciousness being from the great consciousness of all that is, that created everything. I am a consciousness that's choosing to be, but I need to wake up and say, how am I being? Then it hit me that I need to take the familiarity, the chemical peptide that says this is familiar. And so I used one of my tools about how I would just hours and days and weeks and months as a child, always being exposed to this. And so I sat with myself, and all of a sudden, I was free from it. The drip could happen, but the energy field, it would just kind of like go around me. So I kept being mindful to make sure that the energy is balanced. It's balanced. And so I send out a different wave. And so something else can be affected in a good way, sending out love, holding space. And then I watch other people. I thought, oh, this is interesting. And so it's like, how do we help others? And again, it's how you hold your space. It's how do you have to see the other person? And I helped my little, I healed some part of my little. And I didn't even see it affect me. It didn't really affect my husband. He was supposed to be the catalyst to show me something. And I thought, well, how is it that the drip is affecting me, but it's not affecting him? And again, it's my world, not necessarily that we at this point were we crossing over to share. I was sharing energy with this belief system, these values, the things in me that attracts that in where he wouldn't attract it in. And so I was repairing and healing the scalar field, MWS scalar field. This is the social connection, this energy that crosses over. And it's supposed to be all the things that are alike. Because if you look at it, what is it? I told you guys, Venn difference. But in this case, a Venn diagram. But in this case, I was supposed to resolve a particular part of my childhood. My husband was supposed to be the catalyst, but yet he wasn't affected by this drip, just me. And when I healed that root, it no longer bothered me either. So I changed the electromagnetic field to where I didn't need to attract it in. So there wasn't an enemy. It was the possibilities of endlessness is there. Why is it I was only gravitating to that one versus all the others? And when I healed that and I felt it leave, it went to how other people thought it was familiar. How it was others familiar. Hi, how are you? Let's see. Nikki says, I was asking how to show up. Also, boy, Spirit has taken me on a journey. It has been a very interesting one. I can tell you that on my end. Sit in the defense created from phobias. Yeah, you're out in the field out there. I'm not. Yeah, the intensity has been something, and I'm more understanding the why. Yay! I was tapping out the intensity on the planet is something. Yes, and so you may feel like there's a purpose. Okay, I have a higher purpose, and when you start healing, it's not that you have to save the planet. It's not about that as much as you look at that planet and you look because the planet's going through something, consciousness is going through something, and we already know we already know that we have this new state. We just have to travel through it. How are we going to respond? How are we going to react? Is it going to take us forever to get there? Or how is this going? Now I know that the planetary alignments, we have something until March, but there's something still. I'm looking for something still for January. I haven't seen what I'm looking for yet. I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I know that as I sit there and say to myself, this is a choice. These are choice points. And I can choose, decide how I emotionally want to show up. Now, your DNA will be affected with from the environment. That's just what happens. It's part of that quantum field. But you do electromagnetically get a choice of what you want to attract in or what you want to echo out so that it doesn't have to come to you. And as I have these hidden programs that are magnetically pulling in, this is sometimes old stuff that I've thought, done, been, experienced that have, these are like Akashic records that needs closed, or a belief system that needs to transform so they can close, so I don't have to continue to do this. And one of the things, now I don't know if you are aware of this, Nikki, or any of the rest of my group that are from tribal, but I had been looking for what is this one thing why people seem to be strongly asleep that makes the mirror like enemies. Because you talked to both sides. Love is there, but love is more conditional and then unconditional. Love is more two-sided. Love and then have to fight the enemy. And the other side is there is no enemy. I just have to change these emotional chemical peptides. So as I'm watching, this woman, Spirit made this woman appear, and she says, yeah, in the world that I grew up in this form of religion, in this form of you have to, this is us and this is them. And that is, you have to get permission from him. Not necessarily a man, but it is a deep program that I know that no, I don't have to. But yet I caught myself asking my husband for permission on something when me and my husband come together, we're partners. We both ask each other. And it was weird because as I'm observing, he comes in and he asks me, and I said, why are you asking me? And I caught the tone. What the heck? Spirit says, just kind of put those on the shelf. And then that lady appeared. And then she was saying it, and it was like, oh my, whoa. So as me and my husband are learning how to communicate and a social skills and this new way of being, the interference pattern, the belief system, the conditioning root was that you have to ask first. Now, me and my husband love each other. We want to make sure the weather is so weird. My hair is like poofed here. We're redefining what is relationships or partners, because business as well. But the foundation that is present, we got to the foundation. Now we can choose to understand the feelings, how emotions turned into feelings. Emotions and feelings are different. And how the program is so easy just to, I have to ask permission. I mean, I caught myself walking out the door, carrying an object to go to the pool. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, if I don't do this, he'll yell at me. And I stopped in my tracks. I'm like, whoa, in my voice, my sound, but it is part of this verbal communication process of programs that regurgitates what I knew and what I know. So I'm always asking you as you heal, how do you know this? And I said, oh my gosh, this is where people get confused between what voices are. And I said, brain, useful or thoughtful? And I understand that as I awake, you just told me an old program that my little would constantly say. Now I've got something to work with because he always yells at me. Always? No, he doesn't. If I look at my 57-year-old self in this relationship with my husband, no, neither one of us does. So that statement was a lie. It's old news. It was truth that I had as a kid. But that's not always true. Why? Because my daughter was like, Mom, you're always mean. And then I was like, it's not that I want to teach her a lesson, but as a parent, I wanted her to see something. And so one day, I'm standing there. Hey, I says, are you happy or sad or whatever? I can't remember what I said to her. And I says, so is Mom mad? No. I said, okay. And then be doing something else. Is Mom mad? No. Finally, she's like, why do you keep asking me? I says, because you've been telling me that I'm always mad, and your brain is believing that I'm always mad. When in fact, it's a lie. It's fake news. We create our own fake news. So as I walked in, I heard that as a spirit being that is 57 years old, know that that's not true. And I don't have to convince myself that it is true and stay in the program. No, I stop and go, oh my gosh, I can understand how it resonates as the truth at that point because my little didn't understand. It didn't have cognitive skills to say this is that and this is this. No, it didn't have the ability. So it did its best to come up with the next best answer, which was they're always mad at me. Why do I need a child? The way my child had figured out. So, because it's learning how to process emotions, and thoughts and life. And the thing it came up with is they're always mad at me. It's because everybody's always angry or somebody's always fighting, but it's not necessarily always at me. Because I remember always feeling like I'm in a good mood, and then I didn't understand that the adults have issues. I just know when I got older, I had issues. Well, think about it. Your parents had issues. You're not the only one. As you get older, everybody has issues. But it's how we can heal out these issues. So, anyway, I had caught that I'm 57 and my brain says he always yells at me. And I said, stop. This man here does not yell. So, this program is coming to the surface. Yeah, the survival of self is absent. Ooh, interesting. And so the more present that I became as my spiritual self, my integrated spiritual self, I said, I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to go paste this. So I went and wrote it down, and then I tapped it out, healed it out, used my tools. And I paid attention to my flippant words that are coming out from the flippant program that had happened so long ago that wasn't even true. And it's like, no, my husband don't even yell. So, I mean, the whole dang thing was wrong, false. But when a collective masses, massive, many people that have a same belief system and have been looking at life a certain way, the key was that by having that woman, spirit having her appear and saying, oh my goodness, I woke up from being that. And one of the key things that I found was you have to get his approval. She says, that's not my truth anymore. So I am not copying. I'm not doing the same as my parents. I'm not doing the same as my community or my church. I am definitely running the other way. I no longer need to get the approval. And it was like, oh my God, my whole head was, that's it. The collective. I haven't learned to let go of this collective is how I identified myself when I came in. So I decided to tap that out. I decided to heal that out. I decided to change it. And as I did, the voice, the program, I could feel it closing. I don't have to say he's always this and get stuck into that field and magnetically pull this in, because it wasn't affecting him. And as I did that, then it was like I could feel everything, the time dilator changing, and the people that I knew started to change frequencies. And it's not that we were out of alignment. I just wasn't holding the same cord, the thread. They were on the collective that you must obey him. Now, the him in this case, in from what I understood, being an American, is that it was a male, and as in penis, okay, male. Anybody that held this type of authority, which was the alpha, the hierarchy, anybody that had carried that the yang energy was a lording over the yin, which is you have to have ideas to take action, yin and yang. But the positioning that everything's been in is changing. So it's action still is required, but it doesn't have to be taking credit or be charge over or be power hungry. You just don't have to. Yang is very aggressive, and I chose not to want. I'm all for balanced karma. I don't need to keep creating it. I can catch how I'm doing things so I don't have to. I can sit there and realize that I don't have to go from one extreme to the other. I can learn to balance it and be able to go back and forth with yin and yang without tipping it or living in the extremes. So you have to see the opposite of the mirror and fight with it. So I had to change the language of the spell that we seem, and I'm not talking about somebody going, put a spell on us. Consciousness use these things because we were going to learn to go through them. And as I began to say, that's not true. It's not always. I have gratitude, just like when I was taking care of that person. These are choice points. They were a very strong catalog that I am not going to be that. But I didn't put all that energy. I'm not going to be that. I healed all these things out. So gratitude. I mean, I am so blessed, grateful for everything and everyone in my space, right down to my tribe, to my children, to my friends. We are made of cells. We have about approximate 50 trillion cells, and it forms a community. It creates us, and we crave community. We crave this connection. It's part of what we're supposed to do to help us survive as humans. But how do we interact with people that are so different? And this is where you learn to adapt. This is where you learn to and respect. This is where you learn to stop looking at how someone's doing it and getting annoyed and correcting them. It is understanding that they do it that way, and that's fine. But when you live in the same household, how can you adapt? And the energy exchange is now coming to the forefront. You really need to learn to balance each other, look at each other, love yourself. And if you're going to just be a taker, your ass is going to get kicked. So you learn to give, but don't be such a giver that you forget to receive. We've already been there, done that. How can you adapt when you live in the same household? Okay, that's tricky because see, this is my whole research. I kept saying, why is it that I keep connecting and hooking up with people that are totally the opposite of me? And everybody says, oh, well, opposites attract. And I'm like, hold on, why? And so as I adapted and I could maneuver around with other people, I still have to hold a footprint as well. And Like, for instance, heal out how aggravated you are. And I always go to this particular story. So we have this sink, brand new, didn't know that the little sink things you're supposed to twist or untwist so it forms the suction. And it took me almost a year to realize that. So I had to replace one. So I really investigated, see how it functioned. So then when I started doing this full time and my husband no longer was working, and so he's here doing our business full time as well, we switched positions. I'll cook, he cleans, do the dishes, and together we clean the house. And so we changed some rules, which in other relationships, they're like, no, once it's written, you can't change it. But once their life changes, you still have to, but anyways, we have equality. And so as I was handing over the sink ring to him and saying, look, now, okay, that's what you're doing. So I don't have to keep looking over his shoulder or micromanaging to do it the way I would do it. You have to accept that they do it their way. And if I'm going to super and hyper focus on what they're doing, that's on me to heal it out, to take my power and bring it in and bring it to something else that needs to be focused on instead of the damn sink. I can't be just grateful that they're being done. Well, anyways, I began to notice in the beginning, see, I'm not super like that, I'm just giving you the exaggeration. So as I was handing it over and I thought, oh, I wanted to pass down what I learned because it took me a year, right? He's like, no, let me figure it out. Because he grew up in a different household. And I thought, yeah, no longer none of my business. Yes, I can pass down the knowledge, but if they'll never have that experience, so they ain't gonna understand. If they are meant to go through with certain things, let them. You did. They have to, every individual needs to learn how to grow and to do and to be. And when you hover and control and pass down your wisdom and try to force it on them, it makes things worse. Back away. You have a new direction in your life. Find a new purpose. And the thing is that now people have to step up and start finding some purpose. That was the other thing that has been happening. You need purpose. And sometimes it can be a simple purpose, and sometimes it can be a bigger purpose. I've been stepping back from my purpose because I can feel my purpose being redesigned. And one of the things is that I can fight. No, that's not it, because I'm looking at how things are. Well, you can't just sit back and let the other hurt others. Well, no, you can stand up and educate. You can stand up and create a new world. You can be a new catalog about love. So much so that the energy was pouring in yesterday for new people to wake up and a new information that was coming through in a different language. And so that's part of what the book's about, is to help you understand the soul lingo, the language of the soul, to help you progress. So when you are adapting, it doesn't mean that you sell your soul and that you have to conform, confine, or be a martyr. And you don't have to let it get on your nerves, or you don't have to, you have got to decide if that person that's in your world wants to grow with you. You have to love yourself. You have to stop putting up with certain things. You have to decide to become more than just a quiet doormat, or because we're taught that in the world, that we're taught that some people are supposed to have this hierarchy. So inside of you, if you're the type of person that has to get on everybody's nerves because they're doing it wrong, get your nose out of that. Let them do it. Let them fall. Let them fail. Let them learn. Let them come tell you. They come tell you, look what I learned. Oh, okay, cool. And don't go, well, I already knew that. No, you're like, cool. Yeah. Funny story. You can share. You can communicate. And adapting Again, doesn't mean that you have to compromise yourself so much, because then you are creating karma and it's going to create a major test for you. Different personalities. You be mindful of the other person, they be mindful of you, and you work together to create a new language that you can bond with. Do you understand? You find what's in common. Not necessarily adapting equals karma. Karma is constant. Karma is movement. Karma is the infinity. Karma is always being balanced. Karma. It's this energy flow. If adapting means that you're going to change who you are so you fit their world, that's going to create karma. But as you adapt to see how they function, and you see how you fit, and you see how your qualities are just as equal, and you're going to find it, you're going to find a way that you're going to have things in common, and you're going to create a unique world together. Me and my husband have done that. He zigs, I zag. It's a dance. We find this. It isn't about, oh, I'm over here and he's over here and we're never going to talk. No. Our goal is to be in sync. Our goal is, if you find somebody that is as weird as you, it's probably, you're like, hey, you're my kind of person. I keep thinking, why am I keep attracting in these guys that is doing the same story of gaslighting and this way and all of this? Why? And that's because I did not know any other perspective. I didn't go out and get another parameter. I didn't heal my crap so that I could attract better. I was only attracting what I knew as a kid. And so I had to heal out what I thought was beautiful, which was gaslighting. Yeah, no, that's not part of who I am. And as I started to heal and as I started to grow, you can say, I'm done with my old life, because that's not me. And pull away from people and pull you itself into a new direction. But then you got to find a purpose, something that makes your heart sing. Yes. So you put out what you want. You love yourself, and another person will come in and you will allow them to love you. You love others. Again, this giving and receiving, it isn't one-sided. If you used to having somebody play games on you, are you playing games that you need to stop? If the person wants to be in your world, great. Don't try to force them to stay. Grow. Well, All About Steve, I think that's another good movie. You find your people, you find you. You love you and don't give that up. Now, that's not being a narcissist. You need to discover you. You need to make sure your cup's full. You need to make sure that your safety standards, surrounding space, and all of these are balanced instead of having to compromise. You shouldn't have to be in a relationship where they bark orders and scorn you and you have to obey because you realize that you only know what parenting is and rewards and punishment is, and that's my relationship. You need to grow out of, no, I don't need to do that type of dynamics. So, oh, I was going to go back and read that, but she took it away. Well, shoot. Sorry, Ronnie. You wrote something and I was going to come back to read it. And, I'm on the opposite. Don't tell me what to do. Very well. Yes. So if you're used to being told what to do and you're like, I don't want that anymore, you begin to heal that out. And it is how familiar relationship is supposed to be, and how you always have to hear somebody tell you what to do. And so you're getting closer of, I don't like this, to healing it out, to where, how do two people to learn to communicate without having to be war? there's the art of debate, which was so interesting because I never was on the debate team or nothing, and I didn't like arguments. But when I understood that both sides can give their argument and respect each other, that kind of just was like, wait, what? There's different styles of communication. There's different styles of learning and respecting, and learning to be in a presence of somebody without forcing them to confirm and hey, and confine, hey, you have to be just like me. No, I can hand respect. When they are trickery or forcing or don't like this about you, now if they don't like something about you, they will fill up their intolerance tube, and they will start firing with full barrels when you start to have a fight. This is where you harbor and you think and you wire and fire and wire that you don't like this part about the person. And even if it has nothing to do with that person, it has to do with your childhood, you're still building it up, and you are building yourself to hate one another and to leave one another. Me and my husband, we understand what the intolerance tube is. And so we make sure that if we're like, God, I hate he does that. Wait a minute. Is that true? You could run with it. But on a heart level, we came together as love. And do I have to do old patterns that caused no growth, that caused relationships to fall apart? All of my other relationships, two great people that just didn't fit. They'll be a great person for somebody else, just like I'm a great person for somebody else. So me and my husband always notice that as soon as we drop from love, we stop. We're out of sync. We're going to go heal, because the whole point is that we want to heal. We want to be in sync. It's not about sweeping it under the rug. If a person sits there and loves the fact they like to fight, or you grew up in a house with trauma and drama, your body is going to start seeking that it has to fill up. It wants to what? It wants that. And without realizing, your program starts echoing out, pulling in someone to fight with. If you can't fight with the person you have, you're going to attract someone in to fulfill that quota. Does this make sense? So sometimes you just need distance to find who you are in order for your relationship to work. Yes. There's so many little cool tools, like just giving yourself 5 minutes to breathe. And when in the past, I would take 5, not with this man, but with other relationships, and I would take 5 and they wouldn't let you. It was attack, tack, tack, tack. So I had to learn how to heal while that was happening. And every time I felt the attack, I felt like it was like a tap. So my imagination was that I was getting the healing as it was happening. So it was like EFT. And when I go for a walk, holy mother, if you can't process and you can't figure it out and you don't want to lose or you don't want to be attacked, go for a walk. Your body's an amazing thing. You in spirit will commune and you'll get answers. It'll create the right amount of chemical peptides to calm you down. And when we come back together, like let's say we clashed, one thing that my husband and I do, because we've taken the time, that process in between of tapping it out, where it's like, this is what it is, and it's 100%, and da 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 da, and we tap it out, we heal it out, we change it out. Our brain becomes balanced, our heart and brain becomes more balanced, and we have come back to this balance that when we come back in, it isn't about the fact that we have to make sure we grind it into them about how we felt, and because we've taken care of that thing, we don't really rehash the same issue, because we're healing it from the root, we're healing it from our youth, and we're healing it to the point that we don't have to really repeat the same argument. You guys with me, right? You've had relationships where the same story, the same argument keeps coming up. back to square one. Here we go again. Okay, yes. So one of the things is that as we begin to, we were like, stop, we're out of sync. Okay, so we take note that they always do this. Now, it's a story of how your child would say they. Just because the current person is a they may not actually necessarily be the one that you're fighting with. It is the unresolved issues from the past and with those people. You just have a stand-in today, like a soap opera. Stand-in today is, and when you heal out the always, or you heal out the energy, the charge that to that statement, like I would always be gaslit, always be attacked, always be badgered, always hear 50,000 different ways when they said one thing and they got to get it through my head and blah, blah, blah. And this is for the best. I haven't healed that out. So I would be in this relationship going, oh my God. And it's looked, smelled familiar, everything. And then I realized it has nothing to do with the person that's standing in front of me today. I had to heal out how I couldn't process it as a kid. I keep attracting it in because I can't process it out. And I still keep seeing it. My soul says, can you heal it now? Can you heal it now? And I'm like, what can I heal? And it's not necessarily the emotions or the stories. It's about the charge of how we memorized with our thinking about how to solve the issue. So if our stance is if it's not equal and there's something lording over us, we have to heal how we have to be afraid of it, or how it has charge over us, or how it has power over us. And when you heal that down, which changes the brain, changes the heart, changes, you're able to hear different words, different combinations, different space, and you start drawing in new energies that it starts to take up what's going on in your space. And it changes it. Again, me and my husband do not have to sit there and do like we did when we were younger, where you're supposed to fight and then have a breather and think about it and brew and stew and all of this and figure out how to win the fight and get to go all of that. So when you come back around, you got to make sure you get your point across, you get your word across. You got to make sure they get it. And I had this one client that was like, even when they got divorced, she was like, no, he needs to understand, and he needs to feel, and he needs to. I said, when you're ready to take and heal that, let me know. So about 4 or 5 late years later, she comes back to me. She's fine. Apparently what I'm doing is not working. I said, yeah, so it's not working out for you. So then we began to heal how the brain and the body and life was memorized. And as we begin to balance that out, take the charge off, all of a sudden she got a wisdom, an epiphany that it's not about having him to see it because he's never going to see it. It is, she had to heal the hurt. She had to heal these other things that were hidden under it. And now it's like, do you want him to pay? Who's he? I don't care anymore. And she's so much happier with her life because that part was closed. Heal your crap. If you're going to adapt, that's fine. But if you're going to compromise and become less than, you have to heal because that'll be karma. If you're sitting there and you think that coming back together means that you got to talk it out, hash it out, yes, you can say, oh my gosh, honey, I realized my part and how much I had hurt your feelings. But again, once you balance the brain and the heart-brain connection, you will just want to love, embrace, and to connect. You can get your ego out of the story. You can change the way that, oh, my phones are going to die. The way that you show up as just a program, or you can show up as your spiritual self, your heart-based self, and go, okay, I don't want to create that way anymore. I don't have to. Well, that one's plugged in. I'm going to try it again here. And, but I can change this. And most people think you can't. It's the same story. It's the same program every single day. But if you heal that out, And I mean, change the charge, change the way you're talking, change how that program is telling you. You resolve to evolve. You literally stop just dealing with it. You heal it out. You create this evolution. Now, me and my husband, we want to grow. We want to keep growing together. Let's see, 27 years of 32 with my husband. We divorced 5 years and remarried. So you created a different growth pattern. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But if you are allowing yourselves to grow, you will achieve something greater than who you used to be. All I know is that I needed to create independence. I needed to create strength. I needed to learn how to not be a victim when it came to fighting. I had to learn how not to always respond the way I did as a child. And as I began to heal these things within me, and it's not about overcoming, it's not, you have to have a certain amount of knowledge. But it's when the wisdom pops. I'm not talking about just ego wisdom. I'm talking about, you don't have to do that habit anymore. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday or 10 years ago. You can make a major difference in the world. So if you find something annoying you, heal it out so that there's no more trigger, that your brain don't have to go there, that it doesn't have to seem familiar. And when your brain starts to really balance, all of a sudden, you can be, as that ripple comes at you, you can stop the ripple and send a message back instead of have it, the ripple come in and swallow you up. I can set out a different tone. This is why if you put all these diseases, one person gets all of them, or next person gets this, and then it misses you. Oh, are you the lucky one? It has to do with your magnetic vibes. It has to do with your belief systems and your values, your experiences. So we are changing. We have this convergence that's happening on the planet collectively, universally. And a lot of people are waking up in different ways. But one of the things is they're like, I don't have to do that pattern anymore. I don't have to. If you find yourselves doing the have tos, start healing it out so you don't have to have a wake up call that's a major bitch slap, but something that can be a whisper and say, whoa, 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 I don't want to lose my power anymore. I don't want to put this pattern out there anymore. I'm done. You can change it. Let's see what we got here. Good to see all of you. Robyn, you still have the free reading. Just let me know. I got to get it around the right page. Where? Oh, yeah. So please, if you're in YouTube, you get to watch anything. If you want to watch it over and over again, YouTube is where it is, Medicine Woman Soultion. And hit the thumbs up, get notified, because that is what I'm building up. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at. We know that I see that, yeah, so if you'd like to come on the show and work on your stuff, then you're more than welcome to. That's 25 for video and audio. Chat, it's all there. Right down to if you wanted to do a pay it forward for somebody else, that's up to you. Okay. Now you're here not just to get insights and things to see a different perspective, but you can also be here to learn from other people. Hi, Crystal. I'm sorry, my phone, that little thing just went down. I finally could see it. Hello, Kelly. Hi. Hello. Now, it's not the screen I wanted. Well, at least I got that up and working. Who wants to If you've never had a reading from me before, you get a free one. I know that I have to look out for certain names. Some people have says, "Oh, somebody sent me," and I have to look and find them. I don't know if they're coming in. Hi, Ernie. How are you? So I know Ayme is very much dedicated, so she's going to come on and have a video. And then we have April Lynn says, chat for me. Ooh, lots of tests. Some I've passed quickly in hours, others is day. Okay, so we will look. And so in a chat, we have April. So I will get that, April Lynn. And Robyn, if you answered, honey, the screen went by so much I didn't see it. So I'm going to keep going up to see if you said yes or no. You'll have to type it again for me. If you're offering them, I would be happy to hear a reading from you. Okay. Oh, hold on. What's this? Oh, I gotta fix my screen. Hi, Sherry. How are you? Hi, how are you? So people are waking up. People are coming back. People are like, okay. And a lot of people have been on waves. And now you're coming back to the shoreline. And you're revisiting questions about yourself and how to look at things differently. And that's what I'm here for, is that I'm not just to give you healing tools. I want to help you walk through them. I want to have deep conversations. I want a lot of stuff. Yeah, and that's a good question. Have I read you on my show? Have I read you live before? Because I know that I read you on Amy's show, which is a different thing. So, but if I've never read you on my show, then you are more than welcome to get a reading. Candy, hello. It must have been meant for me to come here this evening. It's been forever since I've been on and dropped my phone and ended up here. Well, good for you. Again, I told you there's this wave that's coming on. Oops, hold on. I'll lose my screen. Did I do it right? Yes, I did. Robyn suggests she will. So I put Robyn down. And is April Lynn here? Because she's paid. I don't know if she went to sleep yet or not. But some of you are starting to see that you don't need to do these old habits. You can pop in, Nicole. Did I read you, though, on Metaphysician and Soultion? I don't remember. I'm going to give you a read anyway. So I'm going to give a free read to Nicole. And this pen is not working. Oh, I realized there's two Nicoles. Been a while. Yeah, it's funny. I was going through I feel like I'm supposed to do a newsletter, but I can't figure out how to do MailChimp, and I don't know why. I just can't figure out how to do that, and I wanted to send out something. I gotta remember that this is I'll just put style. So I don't want to be the same, because Nikki anyway, just know all these people. Okay. Yeah, Vicky and everybody else. So I appreciate the participation and communication. So is April Lynn here? Did she have to go? So it depends on the order and to how I do it. But these people that have paid, you get ahead of the line. And if you've never read before, how do you pay, Sherry? Oh, PayPal, because that's all I can take right here. So paypal.me/reading11. And it should say Brenda. It shouldn't say Bob or anybody else. It should say my name. Okay. And pay USD because I'm supposed to. Let's do that. Ugh. Okay. And if you like this show and you want to rehear any message, I have done many messages since the last time I talked to you guys, and they're pretty much all now since a whole year's worth is on YouTube. Been a lot going on with social media, a lot of things I've had to change, a lot of things. It's been very interesting. So I need to look at my messages. It's funny, I thought it was open. Now that it's on a big computer, messages is controlled by another browser, which throws me off. So what do we got here? Okay. So I don't see April Lynn, so I'm assuming she had to go, or she wasn't able to get it. But yet, I leave the timestamp. You wouldn't see on Facebook nor on TikTok, but I do have a clock, and with YouTube, we're able to put the timestamp of the clock that's behind me. I got some lights off. That might make a big difference. Let's see. I don't know if that'll make any difference. I don't like those ring lights. I don't like to be blind. I don't like to be blind. So I figured out a different system. Yes. Okay. She probably did. Ring lights are way too much. It stops me from, my sensory system doesn't overload, and I'm unable to stay connected with my seventh plane, and to be able to have that part of my brain actively work in a very healthy manner. So when I asked Spirit to solve it, it's solved. All right, we ready? So Crystal. Oh, I'm going to say that again. So my friend, Crystal Allen, spelled differently. My friend, Crystal Allen, you may have seen her on this show. When she'd come on because she's won something or whatever. Well, she passed away, and I felt something was strange. And then she went and visited the non-fleshy, visited Ayme, and Ayme told me, and I realized that wasn't Ayme telling me, it was Crystal herself telling me. And then I had to go search, and so then I found what was going on, and so yes, she passed away, and she made it on the other side like really super fast. I mean, like pop out. Whoa, it's not what I thought. I need to go tell Brenda. So that was actually kind of cool. I want, human, I would like to be sad, but as a soul being, the joy from this soul, I can't be sad, because they just get, a lot of people that get surprised. I did it. Like, yeah, you did. Well, I miss her presence, yeah, but I don't have to dwell on it and make it all about me. So here we go, Nicole. Style Nicole. Okay, ready? Immediately my body wants to say, oh my God, my throat. Oh my God, I can't speak. Oh my. And I said, is that true? And they said, okay, so vibrationally on the inside, there is a certain amount of always having to let certain things play out, and you can't help but not know. The invisibility is that you are playing out your parent. So does anybody ever say, oh, you're just like your mom, you're just like your mom, okay, or dad? Well, if you know this, and people have said this, what the thing that they want, your soul wants you to do, is notice that what is false realities? How do you build a false reality when it comes to processing pain and suffering of issues that happen to be in your space? So if you felt stressed, you're going to go fight, flight, freeze. And usually when we freeze, we hide and we try to, don't be seen. One of the things they're showing me is that energy would always be in your space that is invading. This energy sometimes can feel like bitterness, that they have bitterness. And that bitterness is something that you grew up with, or you grew up with a particular, yes, my sister. Okay. So what's interesting is that if you wanted to be alone, to make it feel like you're safe, secure, is you would have to mimic and create someone in your world that has to be what you knew. Somebody that's bitter, that's angry and disappointment at the same time, or they have to rant and rave. But at the same time, then it's going to hit you to start building a false reality, because as far as trying to cope, handle, and deal. So one of the things that you majorly were taught is that you're, oh, there's April Lynn, is that you're supposed to be, the key word I want is, they had it and they just took it away, discouraged. Your journey at this point is to write down, how do I know to become discouraged? When doubt comes in, I'm supposed to be off who I am. But can you catch it and say, oh my God, I'm doubting, I need to stop this, heal it out? Or the trigger comes at you and you're supposed to build a story around this, and you're like, no, stop. Can you be your spiritual self and say, stop, I'm aware I'm in doubt. Start EFTing it out. Or I'm doubt. I'm going to bring my blood back up in my forehead so I don't, because your frontal lobe creates reality. So I don't have to keep building these things. And I understand that in order for me to cope, handle, and deal, I've got to create a story around this so I can protect myself. But that's not who you want to become anymore. You're like, well, I don't want to do any of those things. First step is start to recognize doubt and discouragement, and that I have to create a story around it to win, to survive. And you have to decide that you already are safe. You don't have to try to win this argument. You don't have to. You just heal it out, take the charge out, keep tapping it out, change it to the point where you don't have to keep playing the same games. Now, what I'm going to give you is that I'm going to have you hold R2D, because your part of yours is that it always has to be this dark night of the soul. So the right wrist, second position under the thumb there. And that's where you're going to place your thumb, and you're going to push in deep. Okay? Remember to always do this part, because you've recognized your identity is that there always seems to have to be trouble, pain, suffering, issues. Life is going to happen. You're always going to resolve, or you're going to have to figure it out, or you're going to have to experience, but how you show up to when that comes, how you react to it when it comes, that you can control, that you can heal, that you can rise. Because no longer then do you need to keep attracting in magnetically the same crappy story. You begins with you about, oh, yeah, I'm not doing that. Oh, take my power of it. Oh, I don't have to run with scissors. I don't have to run to the end of my timeline and do conclusions, because this is what I already know. No. I'm not a program. Stopping that. That's what I'm saying. So as you feel, oh, I feel discouraged. Wait. My spirit part of me tells me, I just told myself that this is where I'm losing power. I'm going to put it on the scale from 0 to 10. And because I'm losing power, I'm going to immediately do R2D. Oh, feel, look and see if you can be that spirit being watching yourself begin to want to fall. And you're like, I can feel it. No. Oh, there it is. I feel it. And you're going to eventually be able to stare it down and go, there it is. Keep holding, because you're going to evolve. Thank you very much, Nicole. Stylist Nicole. Miss April Lynn, hello, honey. Hello. I love your dedication and your worth. So let's see a little bit more, because again, many things have been happening on the planet. I just feel like this tornado just came in front of me, and oh, okay, wonderful. My other Nicole here, Nicole Mendez. Okay, so, but this tornado, now we got this tornado. I don't know, April Lynn, what this is, but it's like, it's not really huge, but it's like right here. Now, interesting enough, I haven't taught many things about vortexes, but we have the chakra ones, but we also have personal ones. But what's interesting is how this, instead of being a tornado, being small and going big, is how it's in front of you, especially like covering the sensory system on this side. It's like this side, the left side, whatever, if it's male or female, I can't even remember now, but it's like it's not meant to proceed forward. It's like this side can come forward. This one has to be met with this tornado. Tornadoes usually represent emotions. So now that we're going to dive in a little bit more. There's a certain amount of anxiety that a part of you says always happens. So they're using the word always. And I said, is it true? And they go, no, but I was so conditioned by parent that that is true. That the left side of me, anybody remember what is it, yin or yang? The left side of me. And I said that I'm learning to become conscious of this, not self-conscious where, oh my God, I'm vulnerable, but I'm becoming conscious. My higher self is becoming conscious. And so I'm becoming conscious of how this part, there's just like one part of me that can't move forward. And I says, is that the terms we want? Is it can't move forward? They said, it's that you can move forward, but you are not qualified. You feel deficient. You have this belief system that says, I don't have permission. So I'm wondering if you're part of that same thing that's I've seen collectively. So let's dive in. Again, I'm not just using my intuition. I'm going to have spirit communicate with a pendulum. So what's going on is immediately they went to the heart area. And the heart area is that I have to fill the quota identity. Quoted identity is that if I am a certain identity and I don't have a certain amount, let's say I have to have 80% a day, and I only did to myself 40, I'm going to have to magnetically call in that to show me. And you said you've passed some tests, and some of them you haven't been able to. So let's look at why you have to call it in. I'm looking at 4 things particular, but I'm going to look at the first one, and that is to self-soothe. It is to have more trauma. So I can forget about that one. So it's like if you had one toe that hurt and I stomped on the other one, then all of a sudden you'd forget about the one that hurts. Even though it's still the problem, you can't help but to focus on the next thing. But yes, my left side will hurt, ache, and my body feels stressed from the environment. Yes, and it's very vulnerable. It's like you can't pass go because of these emotions. So you're using whatever it is to self-soothe. I said anything particular. They go, no, any type of drama, any stuff. So you're used to seeing this negativity to self-soothe. And I think this is connected to how, and they're showing me when you were like 4 years old, how something was going on that didn't include mom. So like it could have been something else. And then all of a sudden, she would come in with this fear, and all of a sudden it would counteract what you were going through, because now you have something else that you have to look at. And this repetitive program, again, I'm going to use the toe environment where my big toe hurts, but if I stomp on the other one, I ain't going to notice that that hurts anymore. I'm going to look at this one. So it's using it as a distraction. Okay. So this is a pattern and a conditioning that you have watched growing up your family member or members done. They said parents are pointing at parents, and the habit field is that they're the way that they would fight, the way that they would communicate, the way that they did social skills was to fight. Now to you that was normal, but you're like, now as an adult, I don't want to fight. I don't need to do that. What's happening here though is that this part of your side, it's just so weird. It's just like right here. This side is saying I'm supposed to be always over concerned. That's my identity. I'm supposed to be over concerned. So if you're not doing it in your adult life and you look over, you will maybe see the mirror that other people are over concerned. And they call that humanity. They call that love. They call that if they fall apart when somebody else is having a disaster, and you're waking up going, yeah, but I don't need to make it about me. Not that that's selfish. It's just that I don't need to make that about me. Does this make sense? So you're waking up going, I don't have to make it about me. And you're not annoyed and upset that they're making it about them like you used to. So that's shifting. So they want you to begin with R2S, because this anxiety does not need to be in the world that you're creating. And if you have to focus that the left side is still believing, because the brain is saying this is happening and this and that, then you can say, okay, I'm going to face this anxiety. And this anxiety tells me I'm supposed to take action, because that's when they're hurt. I'm supposed to take this action. Now, again, humanity and love, you can help other people and you can do and you can be moved. But when somebody is using it to get fed, in this case, it is just using pain and pain and pain and pain. They want you to do, and for you, R2S anxiety. And they are pointing out that the narrative, so you're going to have to do L2D as well to clean out certain toxins, is that it's their story, the way they do it. You don't have to get on your nerves anymore. They can do it but you need to get your sensory system off it and say, I don't have to look at that anymore because it's not my truth anymore. It's the way they do it. So it'll be a lie to you. Their truth will be their truth will be your lie. You're like, no, not doing it. So standing back in a very particular position is super important. And the more you start to separate yourself from that story, that way they do it, you will begin to take your power back. And hopefully they can still be them, but they'll be over here. You don't have to take one pain and put for another pain and do another. No, you're going to go, I don't have to. So pay attention to that I have to create another pain to stop this pain. This pattern is starting to bubble to the surface. It hasn't created that scum yet on top, but it is starting to. And as soon as you start to see it more and more, you'll be able to remove what no longer serves. So you're on the right track. Good on you. So I'm going to open up my thing. As many people have said, hey, I paid. Let's see what comes in. We have Candy. I'm going to put down Candy. Candy Boyer. And let's see, how did it come up? All right. I'm going to take and write that one off. Again, you can rewatch anybody's reading on YouTube. Then we have Nicole Mendez. Nicole, I'm going to put Nicole M. So we're going to have two Nicoles written up there. She's also having a chat. Okay. Now, because you paid, you can also tell me if you want me to have a look at a certain direction. Look at a certain direction. She said, like, I can see Candy's. So Robyn, do you want yours now, or do you want me to put you in anywhere? Because she's been holding on this one for a while. Because I see the question from Candy. She says, I would like to know what is blocking my sight right now, and then whatever spirit has for me. So sight, I want you to explain a little bit more. Physical sight, spiritual sight, what type of sight do you want? Okay, thank you, Robyn. I just want to see where you're at. Okay. Nicole, she didn't write anything particular. So you just want spirit to choose. That's up to you. So just let you know, April Lynn understands. She knows what avenue she's meant to look down. Again, what resonates with you? We want you to understand your story. What does your soul want you to know? Okay. Now, Candy, I'm going to do yours next, and then Nicole's. So Candy, just need you to answer that one question if you're talking about a physical sight or a spiritual sight. Because when you begin to develop, like a lot of people will come to me, will do the healings or will be in tribal, and they're not trying to set out to increase their psychic abilities, but that is a wonderful benefit when you begin to heal your emotions and take control of those chemical peptides, because then you don't have to look at it through the ego's eye. You look through it through your spiritual eye, your heart-brain connection eye, and the knowledge, the wisdom, whatever spirit wants. Oh, okay, good. So, Candy, are you here? Are you here? We'll give her a couple more seconds. If she doesn't reply, then I will just, because I know Nicole's here, I'll just dump to her. So we're going to, because of this, there's such a delay. We have to be mindful that 30 seconds from now, she may finally hear it. So we are very mindful of all these different formats. You must not be working today, Nicole, or you worked really hard and those different times. There she is. I was born very psychic, and lately it hasn't been coming in as easy since October. Thank you. So now we may have more of a direction. Okay, so we are made up of energies, and we're going to figure out what's going on. I says, is this more, they go, this is more of an emotional factor instead of a physical or mental or spiritual factor. The emotional factor of why things seem to be cloudy, hi, Bridie, has a lot to do with habits. So the habit or habits that you've been doing are no longer serving you, and now they're becoming an interference. So as I'm looking, I'm completely blind to this page. but yet I still have to look at this page. So I'm going to trust spirit. There seems to be a certain amount of injustice. So you can be in somebody else's justice. There is I feel like you're waking up as the human being, not the spiritual being, but as the human being of realizing that this is a different world. And I used to believe this way. I don't need to believe this way. So I'm watching you do a transition from what I can see. Okay. And my hand is hurting. Now they're paying attention to it physically. It's hurting right here. This is usually has to do with the cardiac shot point for EFT, as well as down here is the small intestine. Now it's coming around to affecting my heart. So small intestine and heart are representing fire. They said, as I pay attention to this, there is a certain amount of experience that you went through growing up being crushed. Meaning I can't be confident because my heart's crushed. Time moved on, you developed, you're doing your skills, you're doing it, but now because the planet is more 5D than 3D, and a lot of the people haven't caught up to it, the communication process is changing. Okay. The manipulation of the quantum field. Okay, so as this energy, why is my head itching? Right side head. Something's got to physically distract me. So I've got pains, I got itches. So I got to physically be distracted where I can't. So, all right. So we have, well, so what's going on? What is this ripple? It's creating the destructive field for her. She's around people that hold a lot of contempt. Now, your heart has been opening up to the point where you don't have to be contempt, respond as contempt, or do the old pattern of contempt. Your soul is saying, this is not you anymore, but you are now meant to begin to feel you and then others, and then look for again how others put into the field so you'll take action. So you're waking, oh, I know this one. You're waking up to other people's, how do you want to call it? The pimp in the hole. Somebody else puts the dream out there and have you do it. Somebody else will get you persuaded to think a certain way and you don't even know you're doing it. Somebody will go, okay, well, I really want this, but I can't get this, but I know how she could give it to me. Oh, how do I get to do it without asking directly? Oh, I don't have time. So you're beginning to wake up to how people communicate socially with maneuvers and tactics. She says, my home is always in disarray when I was a child and not much love in the house. Yes, you're breaking up with how you know you know. Okay, and I said, the phrase that she uses, is this what you want her to heal it? They go, no, but what happens is how did your parents display themselves? You are beginning to go and realize, yeah, I feel like you're done. You no longer need to be compatible with how you knew your life. Okay. It goes back to that I can't be confident because my heart's crushed. You've learned to be confident because your heart's going to be crushed, but you now are willing to bring in a certain amount of old familiarity, old loves, old things, but they haven't changed, but you have. I don't know if you've met anybody from the past or if you're going to create, but I'm watching you getting ready to bring stuff in magnetically for you to observe. And magnetically, I'm watching you have somebody come in that might take you for granted. Has anybody ever taken you granted before? And if you haven't resolved it, it's going to come in. Then there is going to be a certain amount of people that are going to be standing out like sore thumbs, very arrogant. And you're like, no. So look at them as like set of emotions, emotions. And these people, you're meant to see more programs. People that are supposedly awake are programs. People that how they think it's okay to hurt other people's feelings because it makes them feel better. And your heart is saying, yeah, that's not true anymore. Honey, you're waking further up. Your old ego that This is my definition. This is how I do all my psychic things. This is how I do all my reads. You're getting to, you have to redefine this filing cabinet. You need to realize that the ego is not supposed to give you these answers anymore, because you're shifting and more frequencies coming in. And so your language, you're creating a new language. A new language is coming in, and you have to learn it. Your soul is saying, you didn't think you were matching these before. You definitely are not matching them now. What would help? First of all, if you have any fear of being bold, so let's say you do your show, you don't have a fear of being bold. Let's say some people come on, you're like, oh, it's like, oh, they're on. And then you don't realize if it's your body, and you start correcting how you behave. Okay, that program has set off, says I can't be as bold as I'd like to be. There are certain people that would undermine you, where you can't be confident. So that program of that, I can't be confident because I get my heart crushed, you're getting to say the world's doing that. I may experienced it, but it doesn't have to own me anymore. So you're going to make sure you do L1D, left wrist, first position, nice and deep. Heel the palm to the forehead, let your fingers drop. I want you to write that phrase on a scale from 0 to 10. Well, first of all, some people are like, well, can't be confident because I get my heart crushed. Well, I don't understand that. Your soul will, if you say, thank you, Spirit, for showing me what I need to heal, your soul will actually begin to show you immediately how you identify it, what's going on, how it's all connected. And you're going to just, if you're wake enough, you don't have to have it as a bitch slap. You're going to go, there it is. Measure it, heal it out. Okay. They said that there's a part of you that when you're around certain people, you can't be bold. The body begins to make you say something else. Can you begin to pay attention to how this emotion no longer serves? So then you're going to do right wrist, third position, nice and deep, third position. Investigate this one. Did you really have been strong? But it's about certain signature people. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like you have to, what's the best word? Behave. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Start off, educate yourself, because your spirit is trying to say we don't want the ego's interference anymore. Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything and all things, any and all environments will use that. Your soul will use that as an opportunity to show you how patterns are constantly in a fractal space unfolding itself. So no matter where you go, you're meant to see this program and new characters, new people, but it's like you can't run from it. It's like your soul is meant to go, stop, I need to heal, change this so I don't have to believe it anymore. Okay? But just start defining and healing out and keep re-looking at it, because you've got all these different lenses. The wisdom is sitting right there, and you can't get it to pop and start until you start to heal out these perceptions and these limited beliefs that go with it. You don't need those anymore. Okay. So Nikki says, anything Spirit wants. This will be fun. All right, Spirit. It's interesting. So here I am, I'm standing, but I feel this energy being present. And as I feel this energy being present, it says, you must repress. You must repress. And I said, what? So it's like, yes. Okay. So it's connected to bullying. The story you told me one time about your mother and the slap, right? Do you know that? So what you learned as that child from that age, teenage years, whatever, there's a particular feeling. So it's like you smelled and felt the presence. You have to do this. And so then the program will kick off, and it literally feels like a bully. Yes, I was told that today and said no. Good. Okay, so now we got to understand, why does it need to be still mirrored? Now, does it feel like it was a first ring, second ring, third ring? If it's you were told, so to be more of a first ring. This is also the collective of your town or apartment, or not apartment, vicinity. That's the best word. And it's culture. So you're beginning to look at, how do you want to put this? Does the hierarchy of lofty have to push, persuade, force, bully's always the key word here. How did it get your eye? How did it create a reaction? How did, if somebody's coming to you and talking to you to put you back into certain perspectives, why? Yeah, they don't want, okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna pause this real quick. So Nikki is learning the soul lingo from Medicine Woman Solutions, so she's here, she does tribal, she does this, and she has been dedicating soulfully working on herself. So she's going to be putting out this electric magnetic energy that says, this is who I am. Now, tell me if anybody has felt this. You have changed so much, you go home or you go and talk to a friend and they cannot see the new you. They can only see the old you. And you literally feel like you are talking to somebody that is like, hello, they're asleep. They only see. Now, you change yourself and you getting the wisdom, because this is about love and marriage. So it's love and wisdom, it's the marriage, and it's creating this unity. And all of a sudden, the people around you, you've changed. Oh, that's not good, honey. And they know what kind of words to say to make you triggered. So they basically, I want you to look at it this way. You don't fit my mold. I need you to go back into who you are so I can identify myself. So my world calm. You can't change. You have to be the same person so my life is not upset. Oh, they remind you of your mother. Okay, so ready? This energy, and you're magnetically pulling in that particular thing because it says you were taught that helplessness so you got rewarded if you were be a bully or if you went helpless to do what they say is appropriate. Okay. So anyways, they're saying about a lot about helplessness. It's like, this is what I have to learn to survive, but I have to learn to do it this way to survive. And I have to, so you kind of repressed that particular little you that doesn't, you're forced to do action, but we still have to address that little that's in pain. She says, it triggered me. They're abusive to others. Now I can't repress how they are acting. I tell them and it pissed them off. So the little that got pushed aside told that you have to be the bully or you have to. So the helplessness one is the one I feel is like coming up and saying, on a soul level, I've grown so much, I don't have to keep my mouth shut. She says, not present with themselves. Yeah. So as you're watching and they are full blown behavior and you're like, no. Okay. So your little gets the first time is getting a live experience to express itself where it couldn't before. This is where I would tell you to go R3S. R3S. And you're going to look at the word manipulation or manipulator or the energy that is manipulating. Not necessarily about the person, but why is it when that ripple occurs, you hyper-focused on this? And again, your little is saying, I never would have thought I would ever be like that lofty. But at the same time, I no longer need to be pushed back. I'm confident that I need to create situations when I need to know that I can do it. It's like me trying to climb Mount Kosciuszko or Mount Zero, those were challenging, but I did it. It's the one that let her sibling get beat my mother because she was afraid. Okay. Yes. Yeah. 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 But the little one is not afraid anymore, but it has to show itself that it doesn't have to stay hid anymore. So I guess you're done with the hiding. Yes. Are you into the fight stage? Yes. It won't be long though, because you're starting to realize I am not what they're accusing me of. I'm not the energy that told me and manipulated me. I no. And that is because I feel like you have been doing your basics. You have been rising up as that spiritual being, and you're starting to feel more whole, and it threatens other people, and they want you to be just like them. And you're like, sorry, my heart's different. Your little needed a voice. So what we're going to do? Spirit says, I want you to do L2D because the lie doesn't need to be there. So R3S, the manipulation. So when the construct or the manipulation pattern, what is that? Is it triggers? As that ripple comes at you, you can say, no, I send the ripple back. You don't have to be in that space anymore. There's something else there. It's like, you know, the presence. I don't have a voice because it's mute. And there's a part of you that when you go to do a healing where you're doing L2D, I want you to take your eyes and look. I don't know where yours is, but my direction is that I'm going to take my eyeballs and looking right here is where I feel your muted self is. And this part is like, but this is how I see reality. This one has an engram. Everything equals everything. So it has to equal that love is a weapon. So you have to watch out for and be suspicious of, or I said, so are you affecting? Okay, so this is part of the governing. You're retraining. So of the governing meridian that goes from the crack of your butt up your spine, up over the head, and lands here, inside the body. You're learning to govern yourself, but the part that needs to govern itself needs to be more of the whole self. That's what's coming in. So you're looking at how you're little. How old are you? She's about 6.5 or 7 years old. And I learned, so it's a very strong, I've learned that my reaction is being watched. Does that make sense? The manipulation gave me, oh my goodness, CPTSD. Really? Okay, so I'll give you a couple of seconds more. Here's the thing. Being watched. It knows it's being policed. So it has to put that foot forward. I want you to heal just that. I want you to feel the energy that I'm being watched. And I want you to, what are you telling me? Well, R2D, because as I can't, it would be I can't do it again, but in this case, I can't. You're really looking at it, I can't. Now, when I say I can't, so you R2D it, but I know I'm being watched, and that is where R2S, I have to make me irrelevant enough so that they don't see I'm doing it my way, because I can't, there's that can't again. So that's as far as I'm going to go, to slowly work on this, because this part of you that made itself irrelevant to survive It's like it's so this is where you can work further with your brain and say, hey brain, useful or joyful thought. You don't need to follow that. The only way that that part could speak was to have a conversation where nobody else could hear. Does it make any sense? To me, it does, because I can see these very specific emotions. I hope so. That was interesting. That was deep. Oh, it's gonna be a nice and warm one today. I have to say, that's not the one I wanted to look at. That's the one I wanted to look at. Sherry. I think that was wrong. I got 15 cents. I got 15 cents. Sherry. What am I going to get with 30 cents? Did you mean to send more? Are you aware? And you send it through USD, unless you're. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to. Oh, I'll wait. You tell me. You tell me. You tell me. Let me read. Yeah. Yeah, you go take care of that so we can get on the right communication page. Sounds like a plan. Total sense. Thank you. Okay, no problem. Nikki, go heal. You got this. Holding space. Yeah, because you're doing so much over there in that area. Yeah, that's intense. Okay, so we're going to go to Robyn. Miss Robyn. Now, whew, I had to shave the hair on the back of my neck. I'm learning to sweat more, so I'm balancing my body because I didn't really like to sweat, but it had to do with hormones. So I'm balancing my hormones, and now I'm sweating, but I actually had to shave the back of my hair off. The amount of sweat that was collected down there, I thought I had a bug running down my back. It was like, oh God, it was just my sweat. Yeah, I just made myself laugh. That was all. So spirit guides, spirit guides. You got something else that I need to know. Oh, that's already said. The reason, okay, now this is going to sound weird. You pick up a deck of cards and it says, hmm. I know you don't like the whole world to know your business, but there is this curiosity that you've got that's saying, be gentle. No, I'm not pulling that out. You have several people here, and this is one that you were hoping that if they passed, they would be a spirit guide, and they can be communicating with you. And I don't see the deck that you want me to use. Fear of being lost. Who are you talking to? Me about? Does this have to be Robyn? Yes. Can't start the reading yet until I understand what's, because the feeling is that I'd like to jump in, but the feeling that sits right here is that I'm worried of what I might say, or worried of what will come out, or worried of, and I won't quite get it. Well, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. Why are you having me look for cards if you're saying I don't have them? It makes no sense to me. Okay. Robyn, do you have time to play in a different way? I want you to take the deck of cards that you have. And what I want you to do is I want you to put in, just shuffle them a little bit, put them in front of you, right in front of you. And what I want is that I want you to place your hand. Okay, I gotta, all right, just use, you don't, what? You know what deck you need to use. And you're gonna place that deck in front of you, like so. And then you're gonna place your hand, in order to see it, she's on this side. You're gonna place your right hand on top of that deck, because I feel like this is it's like, this represents Alan, so I would have this. So if I died, you would then be holding this going, I'm going to do a reading about Brenda. So it creates a connection. So this deck is about connection. Okay. And you're going to place your hand, and you're going to place your right hand on top, but you give it a moment or two, and you're going to feel the person placing their hand on top. Now, what's happening is that you're going to there will be a feeling that's actually like an answer. Is that what I want to say? Anyways, place your hand on top. Let that, well, as soon as you begin to feel their hand on top, they said the answer to life is 42, and they're if you understand what 42 means, then you're going to pick up the deck and you're going to shuffle. There's a part of you that says, why? Every other part of you says, why? I understand it. But there's a message, a very, very personal message that I'm not meant to deliver, but I'm the conduit so that you can receive. And like, I'm trying to shuffle and I couldn't, my fingers stopped. And so it's like, I pulled this one and it says, finding the little joys in life. So it's going to be a personal message. Now, I don't know if she is doing that. I don't know if she got her deck, so she'll contact me in just a minute. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there just for a moment. Ah, Sherry, so we have, oh, you're doing it. Okay, so let me know when, I feel like 1, 2, or 3 cards. 1 is good, but 2 builds a story, and 3 creates like a statement or a sentence. So do that for me. Okay, do that for me, and then lay them out and see if you, this is my mentor whom just passed. Okay, I wondered. I believe so. I believe so. But so it was mentor. This is her deck. Her, right? Her deck. Dragon deck. Gotcha. Okay. There's something there. There's something there, because this is a very personable, keep my ears and nose out of it conversation that you're meant to look at the cards. Now, you don't have to tell me anything, but if you're going to go, oh, then what can you share? Because I'm supposed to do something. I just have to wait for you to do that before I can do the something. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So as we're waiting for her to do this, okay, Sherry, I do not see it. Okay, I'm going to hit refresh. Sometimes it takes a while. You said that, there it is. There you go. She says she wants a reading. Okay. Okay, so I'll put Sherry's name down. Sherry, so Sherry. Hopefully you're doing well. Not the critter of the deck. Okay, well, the deck is important. Do you understand why that part's important for you? I don't. I just have to wait until you're yeah, okay. All right. So again, give me another yes when you have those cards and read the statement, and I'll go from there. So Sherry, yes, I do have your name down, darling. And if there's anything particularly you want me to look at, I think you did. I have to go back. What did she say? Just give me any messages you have for me. Okay, no problem, Sherry. I will do that. Good to see you. Sure. Something was filtered. Yeah, somebody made a comment. It was filtered, so I don't know who is commenting. Oh. So there's what news that TikTok may not be good or may not be working for America. Well, thank you, Spirit. Let's get that all figured out. Okay. Now, what's interesting is whatever the first card she's done, I'm just going to grab these couple cards. Okay. Because they are more, she's communicating more with done. Okay. So the first overall, you can see them. Do they make a statement? Do they make something up? Do they talk? Do they communicate? Ooh. Okay. Wow, life is so different over here. The things that we believed and seen were ready to go higher. It was quick, it was easy. Dang, I'm here. And I wasn't really disappointed that I'm not there because the love that's here is like so much more grand. And all I can say is thank you for being energetically that space. So she picks these three cards to give you. And the very first card that I picked to go on top of that is a deck that's about familiarity. So this is the deck that reigns with Ayme and the words like MWS. So it's the teachings, it's help you think. So this card says, let go of beliefs that no longer serve. Now, this is the stuff that is ready to go. So there's some beliefs. And I said, how many beliefs are ready to rise even higher? There's 4 particular beliefs. And they are about how we believe it is peace is gone. And it's connected to how that there's a blame factor, a blame factor. So whoever this is coming in very strong is yin, but is creating an action statement. So they don't identify themselves as male or female. Does that sound strange? I haven't taken my form yet. I haven't even looked at my form. That's how fresh I am. So how fresh is this? Good Lord. I haven't even gone to my acceptance party yet. An acceptance party is when you pass. It is like when a baby's born here. Yay, baby! When you pass and you go over there, yay, you're back. Yesterday. Okay. I'm bewildered. Bewildered is the key word. But the things that limited me we're ready to take higher. We're ready to go higher, have a different meaning because holding space differently. So then the next card to match your card, which came in sideways, which means there's either side, yes or no, back and forth, there's something in between. It says forgive others, not for them, for yourself, get your power back. So there is a part of you that is saying, along with the humanistic thing about death, is that the body says, I'm going to have to behave a certain way. Your mental part says that I'm learning the process, that I'm sitting here and I'm watching how I can broadcast the energy, and it's not that I want to. I'm just sitting here, but you can feel this broadcast. We're always broadcasting. It depends on the type, the style, how far, but you're becoming more aware of how your energy is broadcasting, and that how certain actions that the body wants to do. It says live visibility restrictions for 10 minutes. Your live is not eligible for recommendation, restricted in such a result within the next 10 minutes. Contact disclosure setting, turn on, not now. What do I hit, Ayme? What the heck? So as I was going to talk about changing, think the action, then here comes a limitation. Live visibility restriction for 10 minutes. It tells me that I can either turn on or not now. What do I click? I barely can see it, but I think you said not now. Live restricted for some audiences. Your live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Reason, commercial disclosure, and paid marketing. Submit feedback. So I have to do this in order to communicate with. I'm distracted. I can't communicate with her in the middle of her reading because there's too many other red tape loopholes. So this person knows that they got a lot to do. They're going to come back to Robyn. See, I understand the decision. I don't understand. The decision is fair. No, it's unclear. I'm not sure why I'm being restricted. That's the one I want. Because I can't just hit any button. Because one time I accidentally hit the wrong button. They're like, oh, okay, so now we're going to punish her. So you have to stop, read, take care of before you can continue. So what does that mean? Old patterns are either going to be disrupted with energy that's going to screw up your signals right now. There's a lot of work that has to be done, but I feel that why are you showing me that? This person, male or female, it's like all of a sudden there's no arms on this person. It's like they are redefining themselves. Yeah, I can't even go. It's male. Okay, but they can't even go to their, why? Why can't you go to your reunion or your party? There's a reaction that I keep doing. So did you make it to the other side? Yes. Is it because you? Okay, have you ever had a dream? Okay, we're going to go a little longer on this. Have you ever had a dream where whatever you're repetitively doing in life, let's say you're playing a game and then you go to sleep and you're playing the game in your dream? That's where they're at. But the weirdest part is I see no arms. And they are like, I don't. What's it? You're in this space of love. What are you doing that I don't quite understand? This is for you. This is for you, Robyn. There's a deficiency that you do that's holding you back. Your purpose is coming in stronger, but you don't know how to grab it. It's like you don't know how to grab it. So now you're trying to tell me that we're looking for a mask that no longer serves. Forgive others, let go of beliefs that no longer serves. Go take off the mask, things that no longer have a belief. Yeah. What does this mean? So you have a particular habit that you don't know that's interfering with your purpose? Let me ask, and I feel like it's a strong one. Is this related to being seen? Okay. For any and all those that are listening, there is this frequency where, and it could be a certain generation, meaning, yeah, certain generation. Okay, so have you ever gotten thrown under the bus? Somebody's called you out. Somebody has dobbed you in. Somebody has, and so if you were going to stand up to be you, somebody may come out of the woodwork and pull out dirty laundry, say nasty stuff, tell untrue stuff, or literally people that you've trusted too many times. Okay, that is what's going on. Okay. It puts a stop and a blockage, yes. It puts a stop and a block on your presence as the spiritual being that you're meant to be, okay? So it's all of the experiences of being stopped and blocked. Okay. They say that no longer serves, that is it, but your younger self is saying, you don't know the torture and how annoyed I am. So you get a lot of attention. And oh my God, it's somebody else's fault. Why would you? And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about the times that it happened. Oh, my stomach is just about ready. Oh, thank God. You actually create a physical response that as soon as you so let's say I want to just take action and I'm going to do this. Let's say I want to do a show, people will see me and screw what people say, right? So you have these roots and stuff that haven't been resolved. So then you go out and do this, and your body physically goes, that prevents you from doing the thing you say and you're ready to overcome and that you're going to learn about and you're going to do. Your body is going, I have to prevent myself because the experience, yes, physically freaks me out. Okay. That, all that was to get to here. But they're saying, this is, for them, they are doing almost the same thing. They know that they're loved and they're welcome and that they're going to be in heaven and whatever term is used. But I can't let go of the fear body per se, meaning they are recognizing a pattern. They're recognizing the pattern. They're not stuck. Don't get me wrong. They're not stuck. They saw this as they are passing and they wanted to pass this information on to you. So they're really putting it in detail. Okay. So I don't want anybody to go, oh my God, they're stuck and they're gonna, no, I don't. He says, oh, now he's coming in as a he. That shit really holds you back. I put my truths and everything, and I built a life around that. And as I'm now realizing that actually held me back to the point my physical body literally is going to kick my own ass if I put myself out there. My dear, it's the mirror. I'm healing this because when I come back, which, what would you like her to do? They want you to do R2S. It is the belief in the complete helplessness that something has authority over you and can hurt you, harm you, damage you. So it's you don't know that it's coming. You don't know how bad it's going to hurt. You don't know. So there's always this enemy out there lurking. My dear, you have a voice that is important. And the physical body, the spiritual bodies are learning to, the light body, your Merkaba is getting more active. It is creating more unions. And it is time now to start how the soul is saying, I do not have to be in this collective way of torturing others, nor do I need to raise my hand to be this person. So they want you to heal the, it's going to sound weird, but you're going to do L3D and you're going to do the process of how I solve an issue as a kid. I'm an adult. What's that mean? You are going to be paying attention to how you got to think it through, how you got to put the brakes on, how fearful it is, how I got to contemplate. So in the contemplation, like you did really well at Christmas, right? They want you to take that wonderful ability and to apply it to this huge thing that restricts the life flow that is necessary, because your purpose is very important. Just take it slow. Just take it slow. And the reason that you had to wait to get this free reading was because the person had passed and they wanted, they knew on a soul level that they wanted to make sure that they communicated with you. Now they're saying one more card. Pick it all up, shuffle, wait till something flies out. Don't judge it, but just, because my body wants to go numb. It's like the whole body's like, I eat, I eat, I eat. I said, they said the best thing to do that is that you do SP. Can't do SP, then oh, just tell me. Because you're getting out of the Arrested Development so you can learn to govern thyself. Do EFT, but SP is this lie, this thing that you so know, that experience that is so real. The temptation to stay there you're going to have like three littles come up at the same time to communicate with you. And they all carry the same word as deficiency. And they all have this belief that the life is what we just talked about. And the body needs a disruptor, you. Okay, so whatever that card is for you, if you need me to explain it, let me know. They're saying don't just jump off the deep end. You don't have to cause physical stuff, but the moment that these are subtle triggers that are coming up. If you start noticing the body responding, they want you to immediately go to the heart, left side first, and then right, and begin to rub. Okay. When you start to feel like, okay, that feels better, they want you to go down to the liver and use a magnet on both sides, left side first, and then rub. And then they want you to do right side only with a magnet and then rub the large intestine. So they want you to do the liver, left side first, use a magnet, then the right, large intestine, right side, only with a magnet. With the heart, I asked, do you need to use a magnet? They go, no. And they just said, just keep coming back. So when you do one, come back to the heart. So if I do my left side or my liver on both sides, come back to the heart. Then when I go to my large intestine, go back to the heart. You want to create this disruption field. So for those that are listening, so you can help you understand, when we went to my husband and I traveled to the Philippines, and we're in Manila. We stayed at a hotel that had a glass bottom so that I could see traffic and the traffic could see my legs. And my body, I'm like, oh, this is exciting. So I jump in the pool and I start swimming over there. And then I'm standing on the concrete, and then I'm standing on the glass. My nervous system, my sensory system, I started laughing uncontrollably like a nutcase because my nerves were going off. And I knew that if I laughed, I'm not going to hold these chemical peptides. And I said, spiritually, whoa, whoa, my body, whoa. So then I walked away, and then I sat down. I said, Spirit, what do you want me to do? And it said, disrupt the program. So I started rubbing my heart, and my heart really was stuck in the heart. So I kept rubbing the heart, kept rubbing the heart. And then as I was holding one point, then my husband said, hey, do you want me to get a drink? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're on vacation, and forgot that I was doing that. And I then just started splashing in the water, swam over there and walked right on the glass. Looked down, this is so cool. Forgot the program that I'm supposed to be scared crapless, that I'm going to die, and it was like, did you notice she released the heart from believing this story? What the? How cool? What? My heart. So we have a brain that communicates and tells the body, because of all the things that we focus on emotionally and all of that, mentally, and the brain tells, not the mind, the brain tells the body, this is the program, this is how you're supposed to function. Now, the heart has a brain as well. And in this case, I was supposed to disrupt the brain in the head and the brain in the heart. And when I disrupted the brain in the heart, I forgot that I was supposed to be scared. And that changed the magnetic flow of possible outcomes of horror. Cancel, clear, delete, done. Let's move forward. Does that make sense? So Robyn is getting ready to really hit the program that sits in her heart, saying, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need to let it do that to me. All right, that was a cool, love that one. Thank you for letting me participate. And now we will go over to Sherry. And Sherry says, whatever spirit wants, or Sherry, yeah, Sherry, whatever spirit wants. Okay. Sherry. I hear a song playing, like with your name in it. Like Sarah or something. Not that, but it's like a song. I can hear a song with your name in it. Okay. Don't understand it. Next thing I hear is that your body, here goes the body again. Your body has been in self-preservation. Your body. Mentally? No. Emotionally? No. Spiritually? No. Physically. So Sherry, can you see? So self-preservation, I'm just going to explain real quick. I want you to look it up. But self-preservation has everything to do with, I don't want that to happen. And you will swear, let's say you never swear before, but you'll do it. You will stop yourself. The fear will be so great, you'll interfere with the patterns. So the physical body says this. OMG, 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 but it's so subtle. They're saying the environment and its habit is that it's lofty. And the pattern is so normal that you wouldn't even know that it was an OMG. These are signatures, and you have two particular signatures, and signatures of people and their behaviors and their patterns is that they seem to be stuck in a negative frequency. So their thought processing, whether it's a negative nocebo effect or a negative mindset or whatever they have to complain or they have to whatever, that vibration is there in the environment, and your body used to be okay with it. Now your soul is saying, No, no, Sherry, no. I'm not doing things that insult my soul anymore because you're waking up to that's not me anymore. That's not me anymore. Sherry, are you with me? You understand what I'm talking about? Because your understanding is that you were willing to have all these people in your spaces, and now they are actually invading energies. The best words I can use is, do you ever feel like you're being held back? Now I see that she's liking the show, but oh, there she is. So much tested. Yes. Okay, okay, okay. So, Spirit, what do you want her to do so she can realign or do what she's growth, whatever she needs to do? What do you would like her to do? They said, okay, great. Stop taking on everybody's anxiety. You're not the mother. You don't need to let them, it's going to sound weird, but, you know, suckle off of you, your teeth that's hanging out. You know, people use you. I mean, you freely give and love. That's not the problem. They don't know how to walk yet. So it's like little children that are constantly looking at you to solve the problem because you will, and they don't have to. And you're like, but I don't want to show up this way anymore. The way I'm supposed to show up, that's love, right? And your soul is saying, no. I feel like you're around grown ass people that you're like, but I don't want to love this way anymore because I'm getting drained. Does that make sense? Your soul saying, I can't behave the way that they want me to anymore. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not doing this. I can't behave the way I want. I'm being, you just don't see the amount. It's relations are so damn comfortable that they feel they have the right to say whatever they want to say to get you to do whatever they want you to do. So it's about behavioral changes. Behavioral changes is such a unique thing. You can definitely see it in kids, but it does it all the time as grown-ups, which needs to be changed and healed as part as the collective of what's called relationships. Behavioral changes is that I have a behavior, you have a behavior, but I'm going to change your behavior before you can change my behavior. So we're going to keep doing this until one of us wears down and, you know, it's like playing chicken. So one can't do it anymore and goes insane. They have a lot of power because you have given it with great love, great understanding. But the communication style now is that they know, just like a child would turn around and manipulate. Well, I want what I want and I know how to do it. I just have to talk to them this way. I have to treat them that way. And then they're going to say, yes. You're waking up and your soul is saying, no, we're done. This is on a soul level. To help you, to help yourself, you're going to have to say, recognize when the behaviors are fighting and you can't behave the way you want because you have to change yourself because they want you to behave a certain way. Is this my twin flame or my past relationships? Is this my twin flame? Okay, so or my past relationships. It's a oscillation. Oscillation means it's the environment. So it can be any and all relationships, including the twin flame. But it is how you have approached this particular relationship as more of a human than you have as a spirit. Now that you're showing up as a spirit, you're going, I don't, I'm not trying to be mean here, but you don't want to die young, right? You want to live for a certain amount of time. But I know that I don't want to put a time limit. I'm willing to develop, grow, heal, and do all these things, Nancy, to get to a certain point. I'm going to, it's not fighting aging, which we should fight aging. But it is, here I am, is that I know that I'm over 50. Exercise is more required. Eating more healthier is more required. What is F1? Did I do something? Do I need to do something? I'm not sure if I'm missing something here. So anyway, yes, it is. And at the same time, it's more than that. It is a habit and a pattern that has been present for so long that you're beginning on a soul level saying no, and you're beginning to see it. Now, how you process it, I don't know. I mean, I know how to process it. You use tools. But how will you see it? Will you go through anger? Will you go through acceptance? Will you do the 5 stages of grief? If you use healing tools, you get through it much faster. But if you're compromising, having to do a lot of work and doing these patterns, then you may have to reshift this thing about the twin. You are not supposed to be less than to be with your twin. You are both souls that are meant to grow. If only one's growing, then you're going to stunt yourself from growing. You came here to evolve. If they're not going to do their part, they'll be more like a dead weight. You will stop yourself from being you. And you'll have to come to a point, I'm done. And if that requires me to have to leave you, I'll do it. Because I love and care about myself more. And I shouldn't have to pull teeth to get love from you. And it's like, well, I can see all the love. No, I'm talking about other things. The relationship style, the building. I shouldn't have to, like I had said to Talon, we're not doing these gameplays. To have this relationship, we are not doing these gameplays. It will not be in our relationship. And if it starts, it has to stop. We have to heal it out. We have to change the mirrors because that's not who we are. That makes sense? All right, Sherry. I want you to just make sure you start doing R1D because there's a part of you that's like, I can't behave that way anymore. I just can't. It's like you were playing this part that you can't play anymore. That's a deep one, and I hope that helps. Agree. I have grown since the last time you saw me. Oh, excellent. Good job, Sherry. Keep going. You're worth it. Keep growing. Keep going. Glad to see you back. Seems a lot of new name or older names that I'm seeing here now, which is great. Which is great. Okay. All right, now let's go get all right, get a bit of check. Is anybody else? No. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get Ayme. Right screen, Brenda, get on the that's not the right screen. That's the right screen. Grab it, grab it, grab it. That ain't right. There it is. Okay. That made no sense. Okay. Dancing Crystal. Wow, that is awesome to see that. Becky, hi. Becky, are you still here? Again, if you're new, you can have a free reading. Hi, Pam, how are you? Oh, you just paid? Oh, she said, whatever spirit wants, and I gifted one for Jennifer too. So let's see. Okay, so as soon as I'm done with Ayme, I will, hopefully it's come through. It hasn't come through yet on my end, and when it does, that was very nice. I will do that. And it just came through. All right, so as soon as I'm done with Ayme, okay? Awesome. All right. Here she comes. And I'm on the wrong side of the screen. That's very interesting.
I'm on the wrong side of the screen.
There, I had to put in gallery.
Oh, hi.
Oh, look at your sweater, man. It must be cold there.
I just got on a light t-shirt and it's
Oh.
It is a cozy sweater.
Yeah, it looks just like one of those. Yes, a cozy sweater.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Been
All
an
right.
interesting, I don't know. It's like time has it like goes there we go. Um it was like it stood still, it like spread out, it slowed down, and
Yeah. Remember I told you I was waiting for something for January.
Mhm,
And I think we're beginning, you know how you have the beginning of the storm and then the middle is the eye of the storm and then you have the outskirts of the end.
mhm,
I think we have now entered where in the this whole thing where everything happens all at once. We used to be more of a spiral and then it was laid out flat so everything we can see. Every possibility of the quantum field is like, holy crap, I don't need to see that. Why am I seeing that? That's not right. It's like all here, so it's all in your face. And now it wants to start to spin to take what no longer serves, bring it to the surface because the soul is waking up, going,
mhm.
hey, I asked you to heal this. Now we're just like, okay, we're gonna have to start implementing some bitch slaps. But there's still a lot of grace and ease. Where all of a sudden people are just gonna go,
Mhm.
what am I doing? So we're right there, just getting to the eye of this breath. And I think once we get into March, we'll have this breath. And then we are going to do another deep transition, another big one. The amount of rebranding your purpose, who and what you are meant to rebrand your purpose. So I feel like TikTok, that was a part of your brand. You may have to rebrand. I know that
Mhm.
you follow the energy of, I have to understand this energy exchange more. You're
Yep.
aware of that. You are moving in a direction that is, I'm discovering a little bit more. But as you observe, now are you observing this with your spiritual self? Now, I think I saw Robyn say when she looked at it, she felt like it was slowed down.
Slow motion.
Slow motion, is that what she said? Okay.
Mhm.
What did you're saying it's everything and all things, but yet you don't know.
It was like, so I went up to the dentist on Thursday, and I was seeing things that weren't necessarily there before. It felt
Oh,
off. Not wrong, not bad. It just wasn't what I had seen previous.
let me explain that. When you are spiritually like awake and you're hanging out in the seventh plane and you are used to being your higher self, creating this integration, okay, all the way down to the physical level, you will be walking along. Like my husband and I had to say it that way, would be walking in the park, and all of a sudden I'd look over, and the trees that I knew that I'm used to seeing, there was just a slight difference.
Mhm.
And then the river seemed to be different. And then, yeah, you could say it's foliage. You could say it's because, no, there's a frequency difference. I says that color of that green is different than that green over there. And as I literally felt like I'm walking along, I walked right through it into, and what it is that we have choices of timelines. And I looked at my husband, I says, we're in a different timeline together right now. I says, and you're with me because we've gone on walks where I'm in a different timeline and he is in a different timeline, but we're standing right next to each other.
Mhm.
So the communication could be slightly different. Um, so when your ego goes, what the hell? And it will go into fear first. But as you start to realize that you're walking through in and out of existence at all times, you get the pen in your hand. What do you want it to show up as? So I just said, thank you, spirit. And then I would start seeing spirit in different way in this field. Okay. Now you'll be coming in and out. Did you go back to what your normalcy is or your complacency? Complacency is not always a good thing. It's like, so where are you at? So you're meant to experience that the veil that is like, hey, the veil's thin today. Oh, then it's thick again. No, that's not going to get thick again. So we have all of the timelines, instead of being spiral, had been flat. And then we can walk in and out of different experiences instead of saying, oh my God, and go into the negative spiral, which locks you into a timeline. Okay, so now your brain's going, I want to reject this, but your spirit goes, look at this. We're redefining what is timelines to experience it without freaking out.
Yeah.
You will begin to notice, like if you don't like your job, the clock's going to get super slow. Or you really enjoy something, it'll go super fast. Or, but you're going to learn about time does not have to really exist. The weird part is I don't have my watch on because I found out my watch is waterproof, but at the same time, I don't want to wear it in there. But I don't know the day of the week unless somebody tells me. Again, I think it was you or my husband says, hey, you got to work tomorrow. I'm like, I do. Oh, well, good thing to know. So I can get back into routine.
Yeah, like on the way up there, I had stopped to get something to eat, and I was talking to somebody on the phone, and as these people were walking by, I heard this guy just in my head, I heard my life sucks, and I'm like, what? It was like
Okay.
my
All
thumb
right.
almost went up.
Okay. So let me explain this one. So as you are again more and more into your higher self, if you're not, you walk along, you're going to do judgment calls. Oh, he thinks his life sucks. Okay. But the more you're more into this, you'll be walking along, you'll be able to hear interference patterns that could disrupt you. But if you do keep doing the basics and doing this, you're going to hear that you're going to hear what's hanging on the outside. Meaning telepathically, you're going to hear what's hanging out in their aura. And it can be super freaky if your ego goes, or you're going to go, whoa, new ability. Now, you can turn those off and on. You're not, again, I don't see you invading people's spaces. Spirit's not showing me that. They're showing me that you are learning to be more that unity of your soul, walking in this illusion called life, and that's what it is. And you're not choosing to keep a set, permanent, got this, can't evolve space. You'll look at things, but you don't have to over-identify with matter and get lost into it. You can look and you're like, okay, why do I need to know this? It's okay, it's a skill, or it's this, or it's that. It's theirs. But notice how I didn't absorb. Yay me.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't have to absorb. Now, people that are not creating this Weechi energy, this bubble, this orb, this ability to balance the energy, they're going to absorb, they're going to get lost, they're going to have an interference pattern, they're going to be kicked into a different field. You're starting to own and hold space for yourself. Now you're understanding a lot more what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I had a really weird dream last night, but that's beside the point. We can do that some other time.
So the person in the dream is you, and you can't stand being with you. You don't want it to steal the thunder, the limelight, or interrupt your joy. What personality does this person represent, and what did you ever have this personality, or did you ever deem this personality as bad? Have you ever let it get on your nerves as bad, or you can't show this to the rest of the world, or if you're afraid that when you go to visit people, they're going to see this personality that you don't want to be seen? So which is it? All of it? None of it? What?
Probably all of it.
Okay, so now you have what's called an impending outcome. So like a court case, you can't do anything. You can't get healthy if you were suing somebody about your health. Let's say you got in a car accident and you're suing, and well, you can't get healthy, or else that the lawyers will whittle it down to, hey, they're healthy, they don't need this, and they'll win, even though the whole purpose was something else. You are traveling, so you have a goal out in the future, so you have a pending outcome, and all of a sudden it's like you're getting all of these signals from the universe about your path switch.
Uh-huh.
And a part of you is like, I don't think I'm ready. What about this? What about this flaw? What about that? Oh my, oh God, this is really making me look at my shit. Remember, don't view it with ego. You view it with spirit, and you take one at a time and you view it with a grain of salt and you say to spirit, wow, let's take care of that anxiety and insecurity first. Let me write down what it's afraid of, because I know when I'm by myself, I can be who I want to be. And I know that when I'm on camera, I can be something else. But I also know spiritually, I want to be integrated and whole. So what you see is what you get, no matter where you're going. This is what it is. So I realize I have a part of me that others may deem, others may not like. If I'm annoyed at this character in my dream and I just like, don't you dare steal my thunder or take my territory, because we've talked about how your territory.
And that's why, that's kind of where I went right away, was something to do with territory.
Exactly. So what particular part of you? Okay. Who? Now we know it is going to make a representation of a who. In real life, you're going to find a person that's going to fit that particular signature. And so I'm going to just dive a little deeper on this for you, and it has to do with loftiness and the anxiety. So that character in your dream had a certain amount of anxiety, a certain amount of loftiness, a certain amount of, I want to say ego, dumbness. I don't know how else to say this. They don't have enough information, or they just feel like they can tag along. Oh my goodness. Were you that little girl?
Yeah.
Oh, now it's coming back and haunting you. Okay, what does that mean? As you begin to unfold your worst nightmare, if you put that on a scale from 0 to 10, when you feel how that territory and how all of that is, what number do you get?
It's high. I can't even find a
You
number.
are to S right now, because I want you to feel how you feel like you're irrelevant and this thing can just run its mouth, do its thing, and take your stuff. You have no control over it. It's destroying your world. Notice how it's to blame. Notice how it's already destroyed you before it even began. And it'll be more like a parasite where it won't leave. When you do an inch, they take a mile. Oh, feel it right there. Feel it. I am unable to pinpoint this. She's got like several little emotions that gave birth to this particular emotion. And it's just, no, my worst nightmare. Feel completely vulnerable and you can't do nothing about it. Ew. It's my face and everything.
Yeah, that was the face that I made.
So clarity and communication, not necessarily to that person that it represents, but to you. That you don't have to feel like you have no control and it's going to happen regardless, and you have no control, and oh my God, it's territory. I can't do anything about it. They have the power. They have the power. Oh, my nose just stuffed up. It's her story, not mine. Oh, geez, if I had a facelift, I wouldn't look like myself. No, Sorry, supposed to entertain myself while you do your thing. I think your mom's here. Good Lord.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
What does your mom got to do with it? She'd always invade your territory.
Yeah.
So that feeling in that dream with that character was one you really had strong experience with. But time has made you forget and it feels like you've healed and you've evolved and you moved on. Ha ha ha! Not true.
It yeah, it
I hold my breath too. On a
uh-huh.
bite, grind.
Yeah. Yeah. My jaw is sore.
A lot going
My
on up here. It's messing up with my gut. So it's definitely, oh, my head itches. Oh my God. You can't make it stop. You could totally break out in highs if you could. You would. Cancel
mhm.
clear. Oh, I had an experience with her. So she paid for a session, and all of a sudden I thought I was going to die. My body, its whole physical sensation. Remember that? So
Uh-huh.
now I'm not doing that one. I'm doing this other thing your body does. So you have a physiology that goes along.
That makes sense why the last few days since I've been home, I woke up wanting to spin. Not necessarily actually spinning,
Outside is controlling you. The outside gets to control you.
but wanting to, and it's like, no, no, stick my
It's a
finger in the
checkout.
frog.
Yeah, it's a checkout. I
Mhm.
don't know how to process when that energy comes into my space and takes my territory.
Mhm. I did really well.
Shame and blame, shame and blame. They won't hear me. I can scream, I can holler, but they won't hear me. They're dumb as a rock. I can explain it to them. They still won't get it. And they're like, eh. Oh, God, I hate that. I hate that. So did you try to explain to your mother several times about different things and she still couldn't hear you? And no matter what, she's still going to do what she's going to do anyway?
Uh-huh.
But the fresh experience is the person that was in your dream.
Mhm. Yeah.
Really focus on that. It's happening. I mean, it comes down to a deep down hate. Oh. Yeah, so you guys are going to have an intensity dreams, trust me. Somebody popped in the room and says, "Marry me." I'm like, yeah, no. That was bizarre. Again, if you haven't had a reading, go over to YouTube. It's where all of the videos, so you can rewatch it again and again. Make a comment, sit with it, pause, whatever, it all helps. Help contribute, get back, and help this movement of it's time for us to awaken. Oh, Jesus. Okay, what number are you?
It just dropped to like a 2.
Okay,
Like,
because you're like, I don't want to do helplessness anymore. Now, you're going to have to grab the golden white light connection on this because you're meant to feel an experience, know an experience, or go through something. But you're going to have to, when Bitchzilla comes out, you're going to do R1D because she keeps you in your limitations. That makes sense?
mhm.
So the strong sensation, even if you cannot put your finger on it and you have a dream and experience, EFT it out. At least begin somewhere. Bring your blood back up. And it may not always be about what, well, in dream theory, it's not always what people interpret it as.
Mhm. But as I was holding it, the because I in the dream I left my phone somewhere, but I went back to where I'd left it and it wasn't there. And I kept, it was like I didn't have my credit cards, I didn't have ID. And as I was holding it, it was like I didn't have connection to spirit.
Exactly. And then other people, other
Mhm.
energies are going to tell you what they've created.
Mhm. Yeah, it was really interesting dream.
Good, 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 good. Thank you so much for coming on in pain and caring about the energy exchange. We appreciate it very much. And thank you for being an example for all to help heal and to grow. So you put the golden white light down. She got it down to a 2 so it doesn't grow again. She knows there's a difference because it was, can you really feel a difference? And can you pinpoint it real quick?
Yeah, it was like this weight, there was like an anxiety almost of
Mhm.
if I do go do this, is this part going to creep out and blow things out of proportion?
It's a lot of people doing that. Another force coming in and blowing it out of proportion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the significance, like you said, even though it was this feeling that they overtook, you did point out that it is about how I lost all my connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that's
they
that
had the
was the
right to,
main focus of the dream was the phone.
right, at least you thought.
Mm-hmm.
But these emotions is what caused the disruption. It created the
Yep.
wedge. Okay. So you got a lot you can do, a lot you can go forward with. This is exciting. Keep going, keep healing. And yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to say
Tomorrow in
Godspeed.
tribal.
Yes, tomorrow in tribal. Who would say Godspeed?
Um, I'm not sure.
Okay, this may or may not be for you, be one, none, or all. But it was like Godspeed. And I keep doing a certain thing with my hands. Um, definitely know it's not your mom.
My
What's
grandma. My grandma.
ah? Okay, I wondered. Okay, I want to go, but she says fidgety at best. I don't want to let go. Okay, so you know that energy you can't let go?
Yep.
R2S, because that's where you learned it from.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
All right. Happy healing. We'll see you tomorrow on Tribal. Okay. All right. Bye.
Like,
All right. So we're going to move on to Pam and then Jennifer. Um, Pam says what spirit wants. And Jennifer, is there anything particular you want me to look at? Let me know. Um, we will go that route. Yes. Okay. You ready, Pam? What screen am I on? This one. Okay. Okay, Pam, are you here? Because all I hear is twinkle, twinkle, little star. This self, this particular self that has this song, is that it's stuck in a particular dark night. I'm looking around at your 3-year-old self, and the joy that was in the space went very much dense. It went very much deficiency, and you felt the deficiency, and you identified with deficiency. And that identification that I feel deficient, and it's related to relationships. And it's like I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to participate in it. This is real. This energy is real. And if you can relate to me, I'd say do R2S, right? Wrist second position soft. But this feeling, it has a little bit of an anxiety because she's sitting there observing the energy. She doesn't know because she's playing, but she's aware of these energies. Is this is how you're supposed to act in relationships? And you kind of made a decision that I want no part of it. I said, is that your truth? No. the outside, the osculation, the energy in the outside is so deficient, it does not know how to operate. I think that's me. So there was an identification on this. The contempt is what you're supposed to now investigate. The reason I say it in that fashion is because we're going to look this up real quick. The contempt. Again, I want to do a course on this. Contempt, you need to redesign these emotions, these feelings, and understand that they do not have, you don't have to over-identify with them, you don't have to do this. But contempt, oh, interesting. If you were to feel contempt, not just define it, but feel it, it is this superiority. And you're supposed to make other people feel inferior. This is a particular habit that when you look and you see that they're doing it, you're like, seriously? And you tell them what for, or you have to, I feel like you learned that you have to do this maneuver, this communication, this way of being. So if we look up what does contempt feel like, it feels this feeling that you know that you have the answer and they don't. You know that you're like, to win this argument, I need to make you feel inferior. I need to make you feel a certain way. I have to say a certain amount of words, a certain way of being. I need to do this. Why? Because that's what you learned to say when you were 3. And it can feel very uncomfortable and embarrassing at sometimes. Okay. So how does it express? How does contempt express? It is expressed with sarcasm, insults, name calling, mockery. Because there's a point that needs to be had, but at the same time, it's like, is it true? So now, if we said, what is the meaning of contempt? Because we don't want to live by the feels of certain emotions, because that really dampers our soul. Oh my God, this is so funny, Pam. Oh my God. So I'm looking at the word contempt, and up pops in dictionary, says the feeling that a person or thing is worthless or beneath consideration. Underneath it, the example, not kidding, says Pam stared at a girl with total contempt. It's a form of scorning and disrespect, and it's like, can you relate to this? Because there is a personality that's part of what you want to grow out of and want to move past, that's causing the physical body to expand. So that means you must be, the metabolism has not been metabolizing, so the body then expands. It's a form of safety, but it's a form, that is connected to the weight. Beatty says, judgment without knowledge. It is a program that doesn't have enough information. Correct. But this program is running the show. So you have this particular thing. This is hopefully, yes, at 3. At 3, you were exposed, you were joyful, you were exposed that this is boom, love is gone, and this is how you're supposed to treat people. You felt this. Ooh, okay, and what popped out was that you're supposed to learn to treat people this way, be that way, take it in that way, and that is the word contempt. They're saying they really want you to do R2S because you felt so vulnerable at 3, so irrelevant at 3, so, and you were mirroring, okay, so the person, let's just say it was your mom, going through these feelings, and it vibrated to you, and the interference pattern, and you, oh my God, I know what that feels like. And then you watched how other people did this particular part of behavior. I'm watching a scene in my head here. And it's showing me different people would do this. And so you kept watching how people did this. And the one that resonated with you was the one I just explained. Okay. Again, don't overthink it. What resonates with you? Because these are the things. Now, I'm going to explain to you what is here now on this planet is that your behaviors that others people can see that you can't, that are invisible to you, are now coming to the surface, and you now have an opportunity of a lifetime to start seeing it with your spirit self going, do I really want that anymore? Okay. So the main thing they want you to resonate with is that, has there been, or any part of you that with your tone of voice or with a particular thing that you have you do, or a series of words that is about acting mean towards somebody because you're looking and going, I don't like your behavior, it's not the same as mine, or I have to help teach you a lesson. Again, you've learned so many of these things, but it's supposed to come back on those that are meant that you learned them with. So I'm assuming I had correlation between you and your mother. I'm not sure because they keep showing the picture of her in this scene, but you're every time I'm looking, your mom's back is towards me. So the way you viewed is the back of her. So you begin when you can start to feel a little bit of anxiety, or you feel a little bit helpless, or you feel that you can't feel that anxiety or the helpless, but out pops this personality, out pops this behavior, out. Do you have it? And you're like, no, I don't have this. But if you said, thank you, Spirit, for showing me with grace and ease, you may catch yourself. Did it just say that? Did I just do that? Or somebody recorded you and you watch your behavior and go, what? I've deliberately recorded myself during certain situations. And it's so weird how you know you're being observed. You'll turn around and you will alter your story. And when you watch it, you can go, shit, that's where I altered it because I knew that the video was recording me. Where I've had situations where I've asked people just to record me. And then when they give it back to me, did you hear that tone of voice? Did you hear how stressed I was? Did you? Oh my gosh. Now I didn't beat myself up. I'm like, these are the things I can't see. Do I want that as part of me, my future? No. What does this entail? It means that I'm going to break it down, heal it out, but you have to do it by the feels, the emotions that are trapped as feelings, because this is what gravitates towards your reality. Okay? Does that make sense? Used to be sarcastic. Supreme or superior means seems to hit me. Okay, good. So now you're going to say thank you, Spirit, and call in, and you're going to write this down, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to show me with grace and ease. And when you're just being you, Spirit's going to go tap, tap, tap. Did you hear that? Did you see that? Oh, you're watching TV show. Did you see that? Did you see how, did you hear when you have it? Okay. And it's these behaviors that were acceptable in society. This 5D is like, yeah, you can't enter in if you got that. You have to stay at the door until you leave that. Clean out your purse, empty your emotional baggage, let them cry if they want, but you don't bring that in to this next part of who you're becoming. Okay? You got this. All right, now, Miss Jennifer. Oh, my neck just went, I'm completely out. My body seems to be telling me that it's done. Eddie's here. Eddie's here. He just wants you to understand that the heat that you took, oh my goodness, okay, so the heat that I took, meaning people, threats and things like this, the heat that I took, that just my whole iPad just quit. It just done. It's closed down. It's done. There's no energy left. I asked, is it being charged? And it's not, it's plugged in, but it can't get charged. So you are not being charged because something's not turned on. So something has been shut off. Eddie says, you keep taking the heat on something I did. You keep taking the heat on something I did. Your body is taking the heat. And there's so many people that have condemnation. Ugh, I can't even get to the right screen to have a communication. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. Eeny, meeny, you can do this. See, there we go. Lost all my power. Yes. Okay. Yeah, this part is for Jen. Yes, this part is for Jen. Okay. So Eddie's coming through. You know who Eddie is. And he says, human, I thought I was a good person, but I was just a bunch of programs. I didn't want to be blamed, so I was scared. Now, he's coming through. My iPad just says I'm plugged in, but nothing's getting charged. You're with me. Okay, good. So your physical body feels like it. I said, so is your will to live there? It's not telling me yes or no. It says play out. I have to let things play out. I said, why? Because the amount of energy I picked up from people, the disdain that they had for me, I don't know how to be present. I said, how old are you? So we are looking at 4 particular ages. We're looking at 3, 4, 8, and 12. The theme in each one is that invading energies of disdain, okay, is your body is going, it's like somebody repetitively shooting you. So your word is going to be disdain. So, the feeling that someone or something is unworthy or considered of one's considered respect. Oh my God. So it's like contempt, but it's disdain. You consider yourself unworthy. You have taken on the wrath of other people. So whatever happened and who this Eddie is for you, whatever happened, you took the heat. Because at that moment, you thought you did it, but you didn't see because you were little, you didn't see the bigger picture. And Eddie went with it. He again says, I'm sorry. He's saying, shame. Shame has affected him. It has made you seem to be very incompatible with the world. He said, if I could give you a kidney, if I was human, I wouldn't. But if I was in a spiritual human, which I am, he says, I would give you one. I'm not the same person that I was on a human level. Okay, now I'm going right here in my neck. Pain. It's causing, it wants to cause, so pain. Now the brain tells the body about pain. So the brain is telling the body that there's pain, and the brain got this pattern when you would think when you were little, and you would think about, because again, you wouldn't have had any programs of knowing how to really process emotions or the experience in life. So you look up to how I keep wanting to look through this eye up to that corner, as to say there's an adult that has this lofty nature. And so they want you to cover up this eye and look up to that direction and feel this energy that's invading your space as they're telling you you did it. So this lie that you've experienced and lived for years, and the feeling of what they know, and they look at you and that crushes you, and your body keeps repeating the story as if it's just happened. Getting back to disdain. is that you'd have to jump on the bandwagon or you have to be the receiver. You were the receiver. You were the receiver, but then you were like, nope, not gonna let it bother me. But in the meanwhile, you beat yourself up, you drive yourself and hurt your own feelings, you hate yourself, you crush yourself because you're meant to have remorse on something you didn't do, but you convinced yourself you did because other people have told you. Your feeling is a strong amount of dislike for your existence. The feeling of this invading energy of disapproval over with their looks, with their stance, their gestures, which is louder than words. And they may have formed a group. Don't look at me with that tone of voice. Because all you can hear is when they did speak, that tone of voice. And anytime they would have the movement or the gestures, you'd hear that tone of voice. And I said, is there a particular tone of voice? And that is you're incompatible. I'm going to get right to the screen. I've lost the screen. Does any of this seem okay? He's making me cry because he put a lot on me. Now, again, your souls both signed up for this. He told me a lie. Is that what you're saying? Yes. But it wasn't just him. Everybody else believed. Gives me a headache. Please help me release this. It's not mine. You took on this blame. You took on this. And he, in one words, he want to say, he says, I understand what we did on a soul level. And he says, I want to say thank you. But at the same time, he also understands that this is what it is. So what I want you to do at this point is that I want you to go to the left side first, use a magnet on your spleen, because your spleen is not releasing the ability to help you heal. So go down to the left side and use your hand or magnet on that point right there. 24 times, then deeply rub. Because the record needs to be set. It has been written out there that you did this. So how many people endlessly told this story? The record needs to be set. He says, I don't know how. But I also had a soul agreement that I'd come back and help you. You and him have traveled many times as brother and sister in some form, but not every lifetime. So you have this particular thing, but it's the amount of hate that, did you not like him? Because I think deep down you knew that also needs to be released as well. But you're stuck in an arrested development and the body has not developed past that. So once you've done the left, you've done the right, let me know when you say done. Left side hurts. Now, okay, so in SP2, you're going to be learning about what that pain represents. Your body has not been able, here's the experience, you haven't been able to process, you haven't been able to self-soothe. It hasn't, because it's not your story. But your story was that I had to be blamed. I needed to feel in this lifetime. I didn't do it, but I have to take that on. I know this is probably blowing your mind. I did, but didn't like his energy after that. Yes, because he chose to be a different form of human and different ways of being and different values, morals, ethics. It was, he came in as a male to have that greater gain. And I feel, anyways, when you're done with that, they want you to do SP again. And this time right side with magnet, because you have to, again, we have those 4 ages. You gonna have to do it again. And you're gonna need to use the magnet, but just on the right this time, and then rub, and then stop, and go back and do the pattern again of left then right with the magnet, stop. And then, after the rub, and then you go back to doing the left, or not the left, but the right. Okay. Yes. The spleen is so important because it represents that you have been in the dark night of the soul. This is when you came back to play different roles and different things, you have a continuation from that particular storyline that you've been doing with your soul in every time you incarnated. And I feel like, well, I'll take on blame this time so that you don't. So it's like yeah, that contract needs to be broken. And that's kind of what we're doing. You have a contract with deficiency, and you're learning how to see it, and learning how to no longer do you need to be it. Does that make sense? Yes, that's what I'm saying, both sides. Yes. Keep watch this again and again. You may have to break it up, because remember how when Ayme was on and she was telling, I don't know if you're here, but she was telling the story that she was driving along, and the things that she normally would see is so different. You're like, what? I'm in another. You're going to be going through skipping, skipping. Maybe, I don't know, joyously, but you're going to do it very quickly through these particular 4 timelines that's wrapped up to look like this particular timeline. You're breaking up and changing. Okay. So along with that, you're going to be noticing anytime that you feel like you're depressed, anytime you're in the dark, anytime that you feel like you need to go and cry, or that you have to be this pain, or you have to be the suffering, you have to pay the price, you have to do, you're going to have to start doing R2D, right wrist, second position deep. Do you understand? Because the body is saying, the cells are saying, what are you talking about? My program isn't to be that healthy blueprint. It's supposed to be a shitty ass blueprint. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Because it, in the middle of your back, it's called the min men. You can't take in life force. Your body is totally stressed. The gut hurts, yes, because all the blood is going to your limbs. It's not the min men is not taking in life force, which feeds the kidneys, which then the kidneys and everything feeds life into the body. Oh, wow, really power, really. Okay, so you're gonna be, yeah, yeah. What do you have to wake up so that you can choose a different timeline? And that is that you want to choose that love. You want to choose to rise higher. Then it'll start breaking up the patterns. Oh, okay, doobie doobie doo. Okay, so okay, Davin wrote, which is really interesting. She's okay, interesting. I wanted to start rocking, and I heard the tune do do do, or in my case, doobie doobie doo. And what I'm hearing is that do and be and do and be. When you do, be. When you do, be. Oh, thank you. When you do, you be. Now, as you're healing out these particular personalities, you are going to find a new song. Yes, that was gifted. That reading to Jennifer Osika was gifted. I had to go a little longer, and so I thank Spirit for that. And so I will gift that other part. That's important. So a lot of loved ones are coming through. But whenever you're doing and being, stop and take inventory. Do you have a negative mindset? Then you're going to do and be. If you're in a positive mindset, you're going to do and be. If you have this root that has fears, even though you're happy, you're not integrated, you're going to do and be. But you want to create the song where you go dooby dooby doo. Okay, so do and be, do and be. You're in charge of the quantum field and the timelines you see. So thank you so much. Now, if anybody here that has never had a reading from me before, this is your opportunity to say, oh, I'd like a reading, and I will give you one. Okay. It's up to you. Oh my goodness. I just saw the name Bryn J. And my spirit says, oh, you're showing up for yourself. My name's Brenda and my middle name's Jean. That made me want to laugh. I was going to create something, and I think maybe a way to stop and distract me. Yeah, that could be. You got these ways of like it could be more to the story, it could be you have to build this relationship with your soul. When you build this relationship with your soul, you start to be in a new harmony level. Okay. But how much do you want to participate? How many programs part of you creates a self-limitation? And to create a new song, you have to know what arrested development, what are all these things that you're like, I'm going to take the pen back and I'm going to heal all this, get my power back, and I'm going to create a new story. And if you feel like you're going to do something and you are so used to being distracted, and again, somebody could really be, oh, don't let her cry, distract, but you develop who you want to be. The more present you are, the more you're going to be able to go, oh, I'm going to write this down. And then notice that you distract yourself. Then that's called an auto response. That's when you heal an auto response. All of the sensory systems and symptoms will all come in alignment as you're holding. So if when you feel like I'm supposed to distract myself, I'm not supposed, I can feel this auto response. Let's say I want to write, but I go into it and I distract myself and I'm over there. Well, you can go left wrist. And this will also go for Davin. L2D. Oh, how I know this feeling is now taking me from what I want to do. Oh, I love that song. Yes, I would sing that one for a long time when Spirit wanted me. So I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm not seeing anybody else new here. Let me just double check that. Now remember, the timestamp will be based on the clock behind me, and you'll see your name, you'll see the timestamp. It'll be up on YouTube. Go like it, get the numbers up, share, subscribe, get that bell notified, so you can do it. Well, I already answered one. And at this point, I don't want to look like I'm playing favorites. Do you understand? So I don't mind answering certain things, and I feel like this is already getting wrapped up and I need to feel what Spirit wants. And I love you too. Love you. Yes. Yes, you're welcome. Good to see you guys here. It was a great show, guys. I'm highly impressed of what has been coming through. You guys are really waking up. Hashtag thank you, Spirit. Hashtag resolve to evolve. You getting it now? Resolve the issue, dissolve the chemical peptide, and your brain comes back online. Your heart and brain becomes back online, and the heart and brain and your heart comes back online. You resolved it, and now you get to see something completely different. So you're evolving. And this next level requires you to understand that we are moving into the evolutionary state of consciousness instead of being stuck in limited thinking, beliefs, and fears. It's a new generation. Very deep, very fantastic show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, hashtag stop believing your own BS. That's belief systems and bullshits. Hashtag resolve to evolve, right? Right? Well, if you don't realize what that means, the moment you go in doubt, you need to heal it out. Really, you do. You become more aware. Start writing things down. When I say journal, I'm not talking about writing a 10-page letter. What's the story? What's the emotion? What is it repeating? What's the message telling you? If you're going to write, learn to put your hand on your head. Don't waste it, paste it, place your hand there. And you heal out by measuring. You need to know how to do parameters and how to measure. And when you do, and you're helping the body process a better way than it's ever done, you will create that moment of enlightenment, because wisdom is going to come out of those issues, out of those emotions. And you are not going to keep firing and wiring your brain to make it worse. You actually will evolve. Isn't that what you want? Is to wake up and evolve? I do. I thank you for joining that with me, coming along, knowing that you can do this, knowing that you are more than just your stories, more than just your personalities. You are creating and connecting with that higher self to be a different personality. Love you very much. Hashtag thank you, Spirit. So you're already blessed. You're already whole. So stay blessed and happy healing. Okay? And I will see you next time. Oops, hold on. I can't hang up yet. We love you, Australian. Thank you. That's what Spirit wanted me to see before I hung up. All right.